Chapter 2330. Of course, Young Ming didn't know this because these two biohumans were made in Dr. Benjamin's special laboratory. However, Young Ming did not underestimate the two biohumans who wore helmets and had dull eyes because these two guys came out from that laboratory. Even Dr. Benjamin did not use that laboratory to transform the Iron Man. Instead, he completed it in an ordinary laboratory. However, these two fellows came out from a special laboratory. This showed that these two fellows were even more dangerous. This was also the reason why Young Ming chose to blow up the submarine directly on the plane. After understanding the route of the submarine, Young Ming and Dong Jun waited in the sky above the submarine's path, waiting for Dr. Benjamin's people to arrive so that they could give them a fatal blow. "We're almost there." Young Ming looked at the calm sea and said faintly. Dong Jun naturally couldn't see any clues because he didn't have X-ray vision. It was impossible to see the submarine's movement below, but at this time, he just needed to listen to Young Ming. "When you're done, I'll watch the show," Dong Jun said with some enthusiasm. "I haven't felt like this for a long time. It's starting to feel good again. Soon, Dr. Benjamin will cry again. Hee, it's just a small victory. There's nothing to be excited about." Young Ming was already indifferent. There was still no news from Grandpa Sun's side. In other words, Young Ming couldn't see Dr. Benjamin's movements for the time being because Young Ming's glasses hadn't been upgraded yet. I'm not as calm as you." Dong Jun smiled bitterly. "It seems that your growth in the past year can't be underestimated. My loss is not unjust at all. If I were to continue fighting with you now, I reckon I wouldn't even know how I died. I will give you a chance, you know," said Young Ming. "Thank you." Dong Jun knew that Young Ming said to give him a chance to change. Young Ming was a person who valued friendship. No matter what, he always remembered when he first learned from Fong Tian. Dong Jun helped Young Ming steal some learning materials. He's here. Young Ming aimed the deep-water torpedo at the submarine's trajectory and pressed the button. Young Ming did not need any aiming equipment. He observed directly with his naked eyes, but it was more accurate than any technological means. Following the fall of the deep-water torpedo bomb, the submarine was hit head-on. With a loud boom, the submarine was blown to pieces. The people inside the submarine were also blown to pieces. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere from the explosion. Although there were only a few ripples on the surface of the water, and there weren't any stormy waves, Young Ming could see everything clearly with his X-ray vision. "It's done," Young Ming said. "The submarine exploded. Everyone on it is dead." However, what surprised Young Ming was that although the bodies of the few biohumans were blown to pieces, their heads were not blown to pieces. Because of the high-strength new metal protection, their heads were only deformed in the explosion, but they did not crack. This made Young Ming amazed. "This metal is very powerful. It seems that Dr. Benjamin is really not an ordinary person. He can actually research such a powerful thing in a short time." "It's over." There was no explosion scene. It wasn't very exciting. Dong Jun said with some regret. "Okay, let's get out of here quickly. Most probably, Dr. Benjamin will pay attention here," said Young Ming. "Okay." Dong Jun nodded. Without saying anything, he started to drive the helicopter in other directions. Dr. Benjamin was originally looking forward to his new weapon to deal with Young Ming and Dong Jun's family after going ashore. His calculations were very good. These two biohumans should be able to deal with Young Ming, but there was still a certain uncertainty. This was because when Young Ming was in Miaojiang, he was hit by Elder Yu's super-modified version of the Jin Gang Voodoo. As a result, Young Ming became invulnerable. This was also the reason why Dr. Benjamin was only angry but not surprised when he learned that the person who killed the Iron Man was Young Ming. In a sense, it could be said that Yang Ming was also a kind of Iron Man. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Iron Man, but a Super Iron Man. To deal with this kind of person, Dr. Benjamin felt that the two biohumans were a little weak. Although the biohumans were very strong and resistant to attacks, many hot weapons could kill them. As long as their bodies were shattered, the purpose of killing them could be achieved. Dr. Benjamin did not think that Yang Ming could not find this flaw. As for the high-strength new metal, the production rate was not very high. Professor Benjamin had only produced a small amount of it during this period of time. Therefore, he only made 2 helmets to ensure that the biohuman's head would not be damaged and that they would be able to receive the hypnotist's commands correctly. If the biohuman's heads were shattered, although the biochemical bacteria on the body would not immediately die, the entire body would not be controlled, which was equivalent to a dead person. Therefore, Dr. Benjamin decided to secretly send these 3 people to deal with Yang Ming's family. Although Wang Xiaoyan, Fang Tian, Wang Ruoxue, and the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were very powerful, they did not know the secret of the Iron Man. They might be infected by the biochemical bacteria and become biohumans. In this way, the hypnotist could hide behind and control those who became biohumans to continue dealing with Yang Ming's people. Think about it. If Fang Tian became a biohuman, it would be very interesting to deal with Wang Ruoxue and Wang Xiaoyan. It had to be said that Dr. Benjamin was very insidious. He actually used this kind of insidious method. If Yang Ming did not discover it in time, if these 3 people really left here silently and went to Songjiang City, then Yang Ming would really regret it. Of course, Dr. Benjamin expected it well, but the result was very cruel. He was full of confidence and hope as he watched his submarine drive to the private club run by the peripheral members of the central base. Suddenly, an accident happened halfway. According to the last signal from the submarine, it was attacked and exploded. This sudden accident made Dr. Benjamin's eyes widen. He really couldn't believe this fact. Could it be that the submarine was also discovered by Yang Ming? Last time, the submarine successfully came to the central base to deliver supplies. Why was it not working this time? However, when he thought of the previous helicopter, it was also the first helicopter that successfully escaped. The subsequent ones were all sunk by Yang Ming. Dr. Benjamin was a little crazy. It seemed that this matter should be the same this time. The first submarine successfully escaped Yang Ming's attack. Chapter 23:31. However, after figuring this out, Dr. Benjamin also understood that it wasn't that Yang Ming didn't want to attack at that time, but he didn't have weapons like torpedoes and bombs. And the second time, when the submarine set sail for the second time, Yang Ming had already prepared the weapons, so there was no doubt that the submarine was destroyed by Yang Ming. It wasn't that strange when he thought about it this way. Damn, isn't this Yang Ming a little too cruel? Dr. Benjamin was originally a very unfathomable and calm person, but recently, he was almost turned into a psychopath by Yang Ming. He was no longer calm. He would swear, curse, complain, and sigh at the slightest thing. Professor, from what I see, Yang Ming seems to be able to see through all of our plans, all of our actions. Old Scorpion sighed and smiled bitterly. Yang Ming is like a prophet. I suspect that he has a fortune teller by his side. He can calculate when we're going to move. So, if we want to win, we have to do something unexpected and give Yang Ming a time difference. Just like the helicopter and now the submarine. Yang Ming wasn't prepared and we caught Yang Ming off guard. But if we use the same method again, Yang Ming will already be prepared. So basically, every trick can only be used once. The same trick won't work on Yang Ming. Damn, there are only so many kinds of transportation. How are we going to change? Are we going to use everything that flies in the sky, runs on the water, and runs under the water? Are we going to use a drill? That's impossible. Professor Benjamin almost vomited blood after hearing Old Scorpion's analysis. If that was the case, then there was nothing he could do. How about we research and invent something like a UFO or a spaceship? Old Scorpion asked carefully. Do you think that's so easy to invent? We don't have the materials or the information. How are we going to invent something like that? Even if the information and materials are complete, it's not something that can be made in a year and a half. Dr. Benjamin waved his hand helplessly. However, we still have a way, and that is to send multiple submarines together and travel in different directions. Although Yang Ming is powerful, it's impossible for him to notice all the submarines, right? Old Scorpion thought about it. In other words, even if Yang Ming noticed them, he wouldn't be able to catch up to all of them in such a short time. We've already experienced it before. Helicopters and submarines, they all caught Yang Ming off guard during the first operation. In other words, we'll use the same method this time and dispatch multiple submarines. This way, Yang Ming won't be able to consider every detail, and some of our people will be able to escape, right? That's a good idea. But Old Mule, do you know how precious a cyborg is? Not only are the materials precious, but there aren't many test subjects left. Plus, it's not that easy to find a hypnotist. Right now, other than the top hypnotist in charge of training, there are only 2 hypnotists who can leave the mountain. Dr. Benjamin smiled bitterly. So, this idea is a little idealistic. It's extremely difficult to actually implement it. Well, Old Scorpion couldn't help but feel a little awkward after hearing Professor Benjamin's explanation. He smiled bitterly. Professor, I'm just a butler, and I don't know much about research. That's all I can say. But since there are so few hypnotists, why don't we just make some steel men instead of cyborgs and leave in submarines? Old Scorpion, you should understand that whether it's the Iron Men or the cyborgs, the biggest problem right now is that we don't have enough people. The Iron Men and the cyborgs require a large number of test subjects, and we don't have that many test subjects right now. Also, it takes too long to modify the Iron Men and the cyborgs, and we don't have that many materials. You're thinking too simply. However, your suggestion is not a bad idea. Furthermore, this is the only way we can do it now. Dr. Benjamin thought for a moment. Although there are only 2 hypnotists at the moment, and the test subjects are barely enough to make 10 people. We'll split into 2 teams, and we'll head north and south respectively. It's a desperate battle. If it works, that'll be great. If it doesn't, we'll have to think of other ways. That's good. Old Mule let out a sigh of relief when he heard Professor Benjamin accept his suggestion. That's what we'll do. I'll make another batch of cyborgs. Dr. Benjamin gritted his teeth. After that, Dr. Benjamin gathered his students into the laboratory and started a new batch of cyborgs. All of this was seen by Yang Ming, and then he told Dong Jun, "So, what should we do?" Dong Jun couldn't help but frown after hearing this. He didn't expect that Dr. Benjamin had started to play this kind of trick of splitting the troops into 2. Although he and Yang Ming had insight into Dr. Benjamin's plan in advance, they were really helpless. Although at present, Dong Jun and Yang Ming had a lot of helicopters and weapons in their hands, the key problem was that only Yang Ming could take action. Yang Ming had X-ray vision and could see the submarine in the deep sea, but Dong Jun couldn't. Dr. Benjamin's submarine had been specially modified. Normal detection equipment was useless. At least with the detectors that Dong Jun and Yang Ming could get, they couldn't detect the existence of the submarine sent by Central. If Yang Ming were to command Dong Jun from a distance, Yang Ming wouldn't be able to calculate the specific coordinates of the submarine. He could only judge the approximate range and couldn't let Dong Jun make an accurate attack. So, Dong Jun and Yang Ming were 2 people. The two of them could only track one of the submarines together, and the other could only watch as it escaped. This was naturally not in line with Yang Ming and Dong Jun's current interests and thoughts. It's not easy. The only way is to kill one of the submarines, then kill the other one. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment and said, however, what I'm afraid of now is that we are always one step behind that group of biohumans. Then, we will be slower at every step. If these people really find my family and friends first, then even Master, Yen Yen, Victoria, and the others won't be a match for these biohumans. By then, we will be in big trouble. If that's the case, what should we do? Dong Jun was shocked and quickly asked. Chapter 2332. Let me think about it. Yang Ming closed his eyes and thought about a foolproof plan. Although Yang Ming could kill one of them and then chase the other, Yang Ming couldn't guarantee that he could catch up. If the other party also rushed to Songjiang City without stopping to find trouble with his family and friends, then Yang Ming really couldn't do anything. Even if he notified his family in advance, he couldn't do anything to Dr. Benjamin's cyborgs. After all, these cyborgs were beyond the normal range and belonged to unknown technology. Of course, the only thing Yang Ming could do was to move his family and friends to other places in advance, but this method was the worst method. Unless it was a last resort, Yang Ming didn't intend to use it. After all, it was a bit too troublesome to do so. He had too many friends and relatives in his hometown. His parents, uncle, cousins, Zhang Bin, Tian Donghua, and their parents and relatives, and his woman's parents and relatives, and even Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan. Even those who had some relationship with him, Yang Ming was afraid that they would be dealt with by Dr. Benjamin's people. It was quite a huge project to move these people. Unless it was a last resort, there was no need to do so. Moreover, there was a hidden danger in doing so. There was still Dr. Benjamin's informant in Songjiang City. Yang Ming didn't know who this informant was. Although it was just an insignificant pawn, if Dr. Benjamin died, Yang Ming might not even look at him. But at this moment, this pawn played a crucial role. If he passed the news of his family and friends' evacuation to the center in advance, Dr. Benjamin's cyborgs would directly chase after them. Then, he would be moving for nothing. So, doing this was more of a fluke mentality. Yang Ming didn't want to gamble. After thinking about it, Yang Ming pondered for a long time. Finally, he decided to contact Grandpa's son Sikong. Only Grandpa's son could help Yang Ming at this moment. Because, no matter how Yang Ming thought about it, there was no complete plan to catch up with Dr. Benjamin's people. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Dr. Benjamin's peripheral members had some special transmission tools, such as a faster private jet, then Yang Ming would be really difficult to catch up with. The only reliable tool that could kill one group of people and then chase another group of people was Grandpa's son Sikong's UFO. Yang Ming personally experienced the flying speed of the UFO when he was in Miaojiang's Medicine Valley. The speed was quite fast. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was the speed of light. It appeared and disappeared in the blink of an eye. With the help of this UFO, it was easy for Yang to catch up with the other group of people. However, what Yang Ming could think of, Dr. Benjamin could obviously think of it too. Previously, after listening to Old Scorpion's suggestion, he initially considered the problem with a somewhat depressed mind. He considered that he couldn't send a lot of submarines and cyborgs. He could only send 2 submarines. At that time, he was depressed and didn't have time to think about it. But now that he thought about it carefully, Dr. Benjamin also thought of a countermeasure. That was, if Yang Ming chased after one group of people, it would definitely take some time. When he chased after another group, it would inevitably cause a situation where he couldn't catch up in time. And if he sees this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to let the other group rush all the way to Songjiang City and attack Yang Ming's relatives and friends, then Yang Ming would be caught off guard, right? At that time, it would really be too late for Yang Ming to cry. Thinking of this, Dr. Benjamin finally showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. The progress of transforming the cyborgs was also getting faster and faster, and on Yang Ming's side, he also got in touch with Grandpa's son Sikong. Yang Ming once again got in touch with Grandpa's son Sikong in his mind. "Grandpa's son, I'm Yang Ming, can you hear me?" Yang Ming asked. "Yang Ming, what's the matter? What trouble did you encounter again?" Sun Sikong's voice sounded in Yang Ming's ears after a while. "I'm still developing the latest firmware of your glasses, so I can't upgrade it for you immediately." "Grandpa's son, I'm not looking for you this time because of the glasses, but something else," Yang Ming said. "Something else? Oh. What's that?" Sun Sikong asked curiously. "It's like this, I want to borrow your flying saucer to use." As Yang Ming said, he described Dr. Benjamin's latest plan and his analysis in detail to Grandpa's son Sikong. "Oh. Yang Ming, your analysis is very reasonable." After Sun Sikong listened, he couldn't help but nod and said cautiously, "Yang Ming, your worries are not unreasonable. Dr. Benjamin may really do this and send people all the way to Songjiang City to deal with your family." Then Grandpa's son, the flying saucer? Yang Ming asked quickly after listening. "Of course, I can lend you the flying saucer." Sun Sikong said solemnly, "However, I can only lend you the flying saucer for a short distance. After you kill the people in the submarine, I will take back the flying saucer. It's not that I'm stingy and don't want to lend you the flying saucer, but because the fuel on the flying saucer is limited, and this fuel is a kind of high-pressure compressed fuel. On Earth, I can't produce this kind of fuel at present. So, after this kind of fuel is consumed, there is no way to replenish it. My flying saucer and I, including Liu Yezi, can't return to our planet. So, it must be used carefully." "Ah. It's so serious." Yang Ming didn't expect the fuel in the flying saucer to be this kind of situation, which made him hesitate. "Then I'd better not use it. Oh. If I delay your return to your home, I will be a sinner." This is fine. You can use it once or twice, and it won't consume much energy. This is a small difference compared to the energy used to travel through space." Sun Sikong said, "It's just that I can't lend it to you for a long time." "That's good." Yang Ming couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief after listening. "Then, how do I use the flying saucer?" "When you are ready to act, just call me in your mind, just like now. I will send the flying saucer to find you. Your glasses have the positioning coordinates. I can find you directly." Sun Sikong said, "The whole thing won't take too long, just a few seconds or dozens of seconds. It won't take more than 3 minutes. The flying saucer will carry you, listen to your command, and fly to the destination." "Okay, that's great." Yang Ming said, "Can I hang a torpedo depth charge on the flying saucer?" Chapter 2333. This is naturally possible. Sun Sikong said, "Although I don't have those high-tech weapons, it is still relatively easy to equip the existing weapons on the flying saucer." "That's good." Yang Ming nodded and breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Grandpa Sunday. I will rely on you for this matter." No problem." Sun Sikong said with a smile. After settling all this, Yang Ming finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he told Dong Jun about his plan to make him feel at ease. "Oh. If Grandpa's son can lend us the flying saucer, that would be great." Dong Jun had never made a flying saucer before. He had only heard about it, but he had long yearned for it. He had never sat in a flying saucer before. And, with the flying saucer, we have some confidence. Otherwise, I am really afraid that Dr. Benjamin and his people will directly kill my family and harm my family and friends," said Yang Ming. "Right, little AI is coming," Dong Jun suddenly said. "Little AI? Who is little AI?" Yang Ming was stunned. He didn't react. "Little AI is my sister, Alice." Dong Jun was also stunned after hearing it, but he quickly explained, "I used to call her little AI. Maybe you are not familiar with it." "Oh. Alice." Yang Ming hesitated and said, "Wasn't she in Songjiang City before? She even went to Songjiang City Industry University." When it came to Alice, Yang Ming's heart was warm for no reason. He thought about the time in Europe when he was with Alice. Although the two of them were fighting every day, the atmosphere was extremely charming and ambiguous, just like lovers. Alice also kept saying that she liked him and wanted to pursue him. Now, when she saw him again, what kind of situation would it be? At that time, Yang Ming didn't know the relationship between Alice and Dong Jun. He wanted to use Alice as a clue to dig out the big boss behind the scenes. So, when Alice came to Songjiang City Industry University to study, Yang Ming did not obstruct it. Otherwise, with Yang Ming's connections in Songjiang City, even if Alice was a very rich businessman, it was impossible to settle here easily. However, Yang Ming later guessed Dong Jun's problem, so Alice was not so important. Later, Dong Jun personally admitted that Alice was his sister. Yang Ming naturally would not pursue anything. Alice was completely helping Dong Jun. Yang Ming didn't have to investigate her at all. It was just that in this way, the relationship between Yang Ming and Alice was a bit awkward. Alice had seduced Yang Ming many times, and her expression, tone, and even actions were very real. However, after the conspiracy was exposed, could the two people still be calm? Therefore, Yang Ming never went to meet Alice again. He also didn't pay attention to Alice as a person. This was more or less a little awkward. After all, Yang Ming was also a normal man. Although he rejected Alice and spoke coldly to her, in his heart, he still had the idea of getting close to her. After all, during the time they were together, Alice came to seduce Yang Ming when she was free. Even if Yang Ming had a heart of stone, he was tempted. So, at this time, Yang Ming suddenly had some thoughts. To be honest, although Yang Ming and Dong Jun lived a very fulfilling life every day during this time, eating and drinking every day, and often going to the beach for sightseeing. Life was not bad, but Yang Ming had one less woman by his side. Dong Jun sometimes went to the bar to solve his physiological needs, but Yang Ming was not a person who liked to go there. Although Yang Ming had many women, he never had the habit of having a one-night stand with a prostitute. Yang Ming could not accept the concept of having sex without feelings. So Yang Ming calculated that he had not been in contact with a woman for a long time, and Alice actually came. Was this a good thing or a bad thing? She originally went to look for you, but after you returned to Songjiang City, you didn't even go to school for a few days before you ran out again. Xiao Ai was bored staying in school, so she simply returned to Europe. Dong Jun said with a wry smile. Yang Ming was not surprised after listening. After all, Alice went to Songjiang City to find him, Yang Ming. Since he was not in school, what was the use of Alice staying there? It was normal for her to return to Europe. It turned out to be like this. Yang Ming nodded and said, "Hee, I didn't know that she was your sister. If I had known, I would have followed her wishes and pushed her away." Puff, cough, cough. After Dong Jun heard Yang Ming's words, he suddenly coughed. "I say, Yang Ming, can you not say such shocking words? Although little AI seems to like you, you can't force yourself on her. I only have one sister. Don't give her some psychological trauma. Seems to like you. Dong Jun's words made Yang Ming's heart move slightly. It seems that Alice isn't purely pretending. However, seems isn't accurate. I still have to study this matter. It's not as serious as you said. Isn't Ji-yoon without psychological trauma? Yang Ming smiled after listening. Besides, I was just joking. You took it seriously. It's about my sister's lifelong happiness. How can I not take it seriously? Dong Jun said, I asked her to come because I don't want her to have regrets in this life. You asked her to come. Yang Ming was suddenly stunned. Dong Jun accidentally spilled the beans and immediately felt a little embarrassed. I did ask her to come. In fact, Xiao Ai probably likes you in her heart. Now that we're going to be free, I don't want her to have regrets in the future, so I asked her to come. During this time, you don't have any other women around you, so it's a good opportunity for Xiao Ai. Oh, don't think that it's your own unrequited love. Little Ai doesn't have that kind of feeling for me at all. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. At that time, it was you who asked her to seduce me. The situation is different. I guess little Ai was helpless at that time, right? But haven't you heard of making a fake Raoul? Sometimes she is too immersed in the act, and her whole person is immersed. Dong Jun also smiled bitterly and said, don't you know that when I asked little Ai to send an assassin to intercept you, there was always a mistake every time? I guess little Ai deliberately made a mistake to let you go. Think about it. Is it possible to let a sniper kill Huang Lele at close range? Yang Ming recalled the situation at the time. Indeed, those assassins were a bit weak. With the strength of Central and Dong Jun, they shouldn't send people with such skills to assassinate. Chapter 23-34. But they actually sent her. At that time, Yang Ming also had some doubts. The other party's people were too weak. Now that Dong Jun said so, was it really because of Alice? Thinking of this, Yang Ming couldn't help but be a little moved. To be honest, it wasn't that he didn't have feelings for Alice. It was just that he was too guarded at the beginning, so he had to be a little wary of Alice. But now it was different. Alice was Dong Jun's sister, and she was also a person on his side. Naturally, he didn't have the previous concerns. Yang Ming, don't tell me you don't like my sister. Dong Jun saw that Yang Ming was speechless. He couldn't help but frown and said, let me tell you. Little Ai has a lot of pursuers. If you don't pursue her, it will be easy for outsiders. Sweat, how can you promote your sister like this? After Yang Ming heard Dong Jun's words, he couldn't help but be speechless. Is she really your sister? Why does it feel like a commodity? Dong Jun smiled, but he tried his best to promote it. On the one hand, Alice should really have feelings for Yang Ming. Even if it wasn't the kind of love that couldn't be extricated, there was definitely a good impression. So, Dong Jun tried his best to matchmake them. The most important point was that Yang Ming had enough ability to protect his sister from harm. Dong Jun was really frightened by the past days. His and his sister's fate was in the hands of Dr. Benjamin and the center. Now, he finally saw the light of hope, and all of this was done by Yang Ming. Seeing Dr. Benjamin's helpless look in front of Yang Ming, Dong Jun was even more determined in his thoughts. Letting his sister follow Yang Ming would definitely not be at a disadvantage because Yang Ming was too strong. Well, in fact, I have some feelings for Alice. Yang Ming simply admitted, but, is your sister an adult? Of course, she is an adult. How can she go to university if she is not an adult? Dong Jun was dumbfounded by Yang Ming's sudden question. I'm just asking casually. Yang Ming shrugged and smiled. 2 days later, at the door of another motel, Young Ming and Dong Jun picked up the travel-worn Alice. Because Dr. Benjamin already knew the identities of Young Ming and Dong Jun, Young Ming and Dong Jun simply did not need to disguise themselves. They directly restored their original appearance and went to another motel. At this moment, Alice was wearing big sunglasses and was followed by 4 burly men. Obviously, they were her bodyguards. Young Ming recognized one of them as he had seen him in Europe. In fact, as long as Dr. Benjamin's Iron Men and cyborgs in the center couldn't escape, Alice didn't need to disguise herself. Almost none of his forces in the periphery could cause any harm to Alice. Alice herself was surrounded by experts. Alice was a relatively large informant that Central had planted in the secular world. She was very powerful. At that time, Dr. Benjamin probably did not expect that Alice would betray him, which made him suffer a big loss. "Hello, little AI, I haven't seen you for a long time. I am not used to not having you pursuing me." Yang Ming greeted her with a smile and said, "Brother Yang is making fun of me again. Little AI had no choice before. Sorry for making you laugh." Alice smiled embarrassedly and politely extended her hand to Yang Ming. "Brother Yang won't argue with little AI, right? I am not used to you talking to me like a lady. I still like the previous little AI." Yang Ming's words were actually a pun. Wasn't the previous little AI who seduced Yang Ming? Sure enough, Alice was not stupid at all. She immediately understood the meaning of Yang Ming's words. She couldn't help but blush slightly. She was a little embarrassed. Although she also liked Yang Ming in her heart, she was really embarrassed to be like before at this time. First, now that her identity had been made public, there was no reason to be as clingy as before. Second, Alice didn't know Yang Ming's thoughts. She didn't know what Yang Ming thought of her because Yang Ming was very cold to her before. He almost didn't give her any face, so she didn't dare to easily express her feelings now. In the past, Alice could be shameless because of the mission. It didn't matter if she was rejected by Yang Ming. As long as she continued to pester him, it would be fine. But now, it was different. Now, Alice couldn't use the mission as an excuse. As long as her confession failed, it was a failure. If she continued to pester him, not only would she feel a little inappropriate, but even Dong Jun would probably lose face. What was the previous little AI like? In the end, Alice was a smart girl. She didn't mingle in the European upper class for nothing. It was easy to turn the topic back to Yang Ming. Ugh. Yang Ming didn't expect Alice to ask this. He hesitated, but he still tried to be thick-skinned. "It's the little AI who likes to pester me, like to pester you." Alice's heart moved after hearing it. She was a little happy. "But Brother Yang doesn't seem to like little AI pestering you. The past is the past, and the present is the present. At that time, I didn't know what your identity was. I was afraid that you were my enemy, so I didn't dare to accept your confession. Now, it's different. Only a thick-skinned person like Yang Ming could say this. If it were someone else, it would probably be difficult." However, being thick-skinned was also Yang Ming's secret to picking up girls. He had always been successful. Chen Mengyan was taken in by Yang Ming's thick skin. Little AI didn't confess. Alice was a little embarrassed by Yang Ming's words. Naturally, she refused to admit it, but she was afraid that Yang Ming would misunderstand, so she explained, "Little AI just has some feelings for Brother Yang. She likes to follow Brother Yang. It's so mushy. I say, Yang Ming, little AI, even if you two are in love, you don't have to be like this when you meet. I am an outsider." When Dong Jun saw the scene in front of him, he was also willing to see it. Naturally, he was very comforted and very happy. If Alice really followed Yang Ming, then Yang Ming would not let go of Dr. Benjamin. That's right. Let's settle down first, and then find a place to eat something. Little AI, are you hungry? Yang Ming asked with a smile. It's okay. Along the way, we have eaten all kinds of delicacies, so we didn't lose anything. Alice smiled and said, Brother, when I pursued Yang Ming, it was you who gave me the idea to let me get close to him. Why are you laughing at me? I won't laugh. Dong Jun sighed sadly. It's a pity. Yang Ming, you have so many women. Now, even my sister is going to be captured by you, but I have no women. My women were all killed by you. Oh. Chapter 23:35. Oh. You mean those cold-blooded assassins who came to trouble me? Yang Ming asked after a slight pause. Yeah, those are my exclusive property, and they were all killed by you. Dong Jun said with some regret. Assassins without feelings, what do you want to do? I really don't understand you. Yang Ming said with some helplessness, why don't you wait until this is over, and you go around the world to pick up girls? Forget it. I don't want feelings. With Alice as a family member, I am always on tenterhooks every day. I am afraid that something will happen to her. If I have more women, how can I live my life? Dong Jun shook his head and quickly rejected Yang Ming's proposal. After Yang Ming listened to Dong Jun's words, he was silent, but there was some helplessness and sympathy. Before Dong Jun, it could be said that he was a very lonely person. Because of the Central and Dr. Benjamin, Dong Jun did not dare to make friends sincerely, and he did not dare to find a girlfriend sincerely. His only sister, Alice, made him worried. Because he was afraid that the people around him would have a relationship with the Central again. He was afraid that Dr. Benjamin would intervene and use him to blackmail him again. Therefore, Dong Jun was very lonely. Until now, although Yang Ming began to deal with Dr. Benjamin, Dong Jun still had a lot of obstacles in his heart. Yang Ming could understand this. Therefore, Dong Jun only trained some female assassins. These cold-blooded female assassins had no feelings. If they died, Dong Jun would not care very much. However, if he wanted to find a girlfriend, he was afraid that he would not be able to change this idea in a short time. Therefore, Yang Ming could not force it. Yang Ming could only gradually make Dong Jun become a normal person. It was impossible to let him return to a peaceful life all of a sudden. Perhaps it was because Alice had always been on the surface, so she didn't develop a dark heart like Dong Jun. It was very normal. From her shy appearance before, it could be seen that the pressure she was under was far less than Dong Jun. But this was also good. Yang Ming did not want Alice to have a problem in her heart. Yang Ming first booked a room for Alice in the rented motel. After the three of them settled down, they drove to a famous restaurant nearby. This was also a restaurant that Yang Ming and Dong Jun often visited. Although the food inside was Western food, the taste was good. Yang Ming still liked to eat it. Dong Jun also didn't refuse. He didn't have high requirements for food. As for Alice, she had always lived in Europe. Naturally, she wasn't picky about this kind of meal. Yang Ming and others asked for a special private room. In order to make it convenient to talk while eating, Yang Ming deliberately checked the security situation in the private room in advance. He was very satisfied. This private room was very soundproof, and there were no peeping and eavesdropping facilities. Therefore, Yang Ming could talk to Dong Jun and Alice without any worries. Brother Yang, tell me about your battle with Dr. Benjamin during this time. Alice was curious and interested in how Yang Ming dealt with Dr. Benjamin. These days, against Dr. Benjamin, it was Yang Ming who put in the effort. Your brother was just an assistant. Without Yang Ming, it was impossible to achieve such a huge victory. Dong Jun said humbly at this time. On the one hand, he was telling the truth. On the other hand, he also wanted to improve the image of Yang Ming in front of Alice. Anyway, Alice had a good impression of Yang Ming. As long as they were slightly matched, it was normal for the two to be together. Dong Jun, you don't have to belittle yourself. Little AI, in fact, your brother still helped a lot. Yang Ming said with a smile. When I'm done, little AI will know whose contribution is the greatest. Dong Jun smiled and began to describe in detail his and Yang Ming's achievements during this period of time. Yang Ming did not have much. After all, what Dong Jun said was done by him. It was not a big deal, so his expression was very calm. But Alice was different. Although Alice knew some things before, she didn't know in such detail. At this time, listening to Dong Jun's detailed narration of what they had done on this side, her eyes were immediately filled with stars. Of course, Alice was not that kind of ignorant girl. She really admired Yang Ming at this moment. Although Alice did not have a dark heart like Dong Jun, she also knew how powerful Dr. Benjamin was. Yang Ming could force Dr. Benjamin into a corner and make him retreat. This seemed incredible in the past, but Yang Ming really did it. Dong Jun naturally would not exaggerate the facts to deceive Alice, so Alice understood that this was really all Yang Ming's credit. So, she really admired Yang Ming. She and Dong Jun did not dare to imagine, but Yang Ming actually did it. Moreover, he did it easily. This made a strange feeling rise in Alice's heart. She already had a good impression of Yang Ming. Brother Yang, you are really amazing. Alice said after listening, it seems that I really underestimated you before. If I knew that you were so powerful, I would not have gone against you. I would have cooperated with you directly. I was not as powerful as I am now. Yang Ming was not arrogant, but said calmly, when I was in Miaojiang, I profited from a disaster and got a big opportunity. Otherwise, it would be impossible to force Dr. Benjamin into such a situation. Although Yang Ming was very confident, he was not arrogant. Although Yang Ming was now facing a powerful enemy, who knew if Dr. Benjamin still had a trick up his sleeve? Did he still have a trump card? For example, the previous words of Old Mule also brought a new trick to Dr. Benjamin. If it were not for the limited manpower in his hands, even if Yang Ming had the help of the flying saucer, he would be busy for a while, right? Besides, the flying saucer was not a long-term solution. It was fine to use it once or twice occasionally. If it was used too much, and Grandpa Sun Sikong and Lu Yezi couldn't return to their home planet, then he would really be a sinner. Xiao AI, in the future, us siblings will definitely take advantage of Yang Ming. We will move to Yang Ming's Island X and settle down. Come, let us siblings toast to Island Master Yang. Dong Jun picked up the wine glass and said with a smile. He was actually hinting to Alice that there would be a long time in the future. Even if she couldn't have the spark of love with Yang Ming during this time, there would be plenty of opportunities when she lived on Island X in the future. Anyway, when the two of them settled down, Yang Ming couldn't drive them away. Sure enough, Alice's eyes lit up. To be honest, if Yang Ming acted faster, it was estimated that the battle with Central would be over soon. Chapter 2336. Therefore, Alice was not sure if she could make Yang Ming fall in love with her. However, after moving to Island X, there would be no such worries. Therefore, when Dong Jun said this, Alice also raised her glass happily. Brother Yang, Xiao AI salutes you. In the future, you have to take care of my brother and me. Alice raised her glass elegantly. At this moment, Xiao Ai was like a well-educated young lady. Be it her actions or her tone, they were both elegant and noble. However, Yang Ming had seen this kind of Alice before. Yang Ming still liked the Xiao Ai who always expressed her love for him in private, intentionally or unintentionally. However, perhaps that Xiao Ai would never appear again. This made Yang Ming feel a little regretful. Alice was very smart. She could feel Yang Ming's disappointment just from Yang Ming's eyes. After thinking about it, Alice understood why Yang Ming was disappointed. However, it was funny when she thought about it. In the past, when she used the identity of Xiao Ai to seduce Yang Ming welcomed her with a cold face every day. But now, Alice had recovered her current identity as Dong Jun's sister. Yang Ming missed the previous Xiao Ai instead. However, in any case, Alice's mood was very good. It seemed that Yang Ming had a good impression of her, not only because she was Dong Jun's sister, but also because he wanted to fulfill his promise to Dong Jun or anything like that. In fact, what Alice was most afraid of was that Yang Ming accepted her because of Dong Jun's face, but he did not love her in his heart. Although Alice was with Yang Ming, she would definitely be unhappy in her heart. But now, there was no such concern. It seemed that Yang Ming still liked her, but Alice really couldn't muster the courage to become the somewhat charming Xiao Ai. After the meal, the awkward atmosphere eased a lot. Yang Ming had actually forgiven Alice for what she had done in the past, but Alice had some knot in her heart. She felt a little sorry for Yang Ming. Yang Ming even forgave Dong Jun, let alone Alice. Time passed quickly. Although the relationship between Yang Ming and Alice was good, they did not become a couple as Dong Jun imagined. On the one hand, Yang Ming's mind was now on Dr. Yang Ming and the center. On the other hand, it was because Yang Ming was not used to seeing Xiao Ai, who was as gentle as a little sister next door at this moment. Yang Ming's impression of Xiao Ai was still the princess-like girl in Europe who never forgot to seduce him. Dong Jun seemed to have realized this as well, so he secretly went to look for Alice. Alice, tell your brother the truth. Do you like Yang Ming or not? Dong Jun was worried about his sister's marriage. In his opinion, Alice was definitely interested in Yang Ming. However, he couldn't help but feel a little anxious when he saw that the progress between Yang Ming and Alice was slow. Oh. Yang Ming had become a couple with so many beautiful girls, including Shen Yuxi and Lu Huamei. They had all become Yang Ming's girlfriends, but Xiao Ai's situation was not clear yet. Dong Jun couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Yang Ming's mind was indeed on the center and Dr. Yang Ming. This was not wrong, but it did not mean that Yang Ming did not have time to fall in love. According to Dong Jun's understanding, Yang Ming's time in Miaojiang was also to prepare and plan to deal with Elder Yu. At that time, since he could be together with Xia Shui, it was not completely impossible to fall in love even though there was the foundation of their previous relationship. Therefore, Dong Jun felt that as long as Alice had this intention, he would work hard to facilitate this good thing. Brother. Alice's face was slightly red, like the sunset, full of a different kind of beauty. Previously, it could be said that Alice had always appeared in the image of a strong woman. It was rare for her to have such a little girl's attitude. Don't be shy, Xiao Ai. If you like him, you like him. If you don't like him, you don't like him. How could Dong Jun not know Alice's intentions when he saw her like this? However, in order to make sure, he still asked, tell me, so that brother can think of a way for you. Can you think of a way? Alice did not admit nor deny, but her question was equivalent to admitting Dong Jun's problem in disguise. When Dong Jun heard Alice's question, the dust in his heart settled down. He said with a slight smile, of course, I will create some opportunities for you to be alone. Do you think I will drug you and Yang Ming? That would be a bit too low. Wouldn't you and Yang Ming blame me to death? Brother, what are you talking about? Alice's face was even redder. What kind of brother are you? Why can't you be serious? Hee hee, I'm not joking. Dong Jun said with a smile, I know. I will help you think of a way to create some opportunities. Then. I will go out first. Alice said shyly. Wait. Dong Jun saw that Alice was about to leave and quickly stopped her. Although Dong Jun was also thinking of a way, in fact, it still required Alice's own efforts. Another thing was that Alice had better take the initiative. Don't be so shy. If you don't take the initiative, how can there be a result? What's wrong, brother? Alice stopped and turned to look at Dong Jun with some doubts. It's like this. When you were in Europe, how did you attract Yang Ming? Dong Jun wanted to say seduce, but he felt that it was not very good to say the word seduce to his sister, so Dong Jun changed it to attract. At that time, weren't you the one who let me get close to him? Alice thought about it and smiled with some embarrassment. I didn't think so much at that time. I just wanted to get close to Yang Ming. Naturally, I used some extraordinary means. Then you can use it now, said Dong Jun. Now, how can I still use those means? Alice thought about the things at the beginning and felt a little embarrassed. At that time, in order to change the fate of her and her brother, she had to seduce Yang Ming, so Alice didn't feel any guilt at that time. But now it was different. Alice didn't need to worry about the fate of her and her brother. Naturally, she didn't have to seduce Yang Ming anymore. Of course, you have to use it. Dong Jun shook his head and said solemnly, not only do you have to use it, but you have to use it well. Ah. Why? Alice looked at Dong Jun with a strange expression and asked curiously. Why? Of course, it is for the future of us siblings. Chapter 23:37. Dong Jun said solemnly, think about it. In the future, us two siblings have no place to go. We can only live in seclusion with Yang Ming on his island X, right? Yeah, and then? Alice nodded and asked. Think about it. Although your brother is Yang Ming's apprentice brother, in the end, I betrayed the sect and dealt with Yang Ming. Dong Jun said, how sensitive is our identity? But didn't Yang Ming forgive us? Alice nodded and asked curiously. It's not wrong to forgive us. Dong Jun continued, but Yang Ming forgiving us doesn't mean that Yang Ming's women have forgiven us. There are also Yang Ming's family and Yang Ming's friends. Think about it. If Yang Ming is on the island, we can still have a place on Island X. But if Yang Ming goes to other places to do things, then won't we be bullied on the island? Alice thought about it. Her brother's words seemed to make sense. Although she and her brother were forgiven by Yang Ming, on Island X, they were still considered outsiders. They couldn't be said to be Yang Ming's confidants. And Yang Ming's family and friends might hate her and her brother. When the time came, they would make things difficult for her and her brother. That would be a little distressing. Right? This is all because we don't have a core position around Yang Ming. Dong Jun said with a bitter face, think about it. If someone talks to Yang Ming every day and gets along with his women, then won't your brother be a relative of the island owner's family in the future? Walking sideways on Island X. A relative of the island owner's family. Alice was stunned, then she remembered what Dong Jun said before. What pillow talk? Getting along with Yang Ming's women. Isn't that encouraging me to become Yang Ming's woman? Alice's face instantly turned red. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Walking sideways. Wouldn't that make me a crab? It doesn't matter what it is. This difficult task will fall on you. Otherwise, your brother will only be a servant on the island in the future. Dong-jun said with a bitter face. It can't be that serious, right? At most, we won't go to Island X. The world is so big, we can just find a place and live comfortably for the rest of our lives. Alice said, I still have a lot of money in my hands. Sigh, where is my home in this vast world? You also said that you have a lot of money in your hands. Dong-jun had a brainwave and continued, think about it. After Dr. Benjamin's death, Young Ming can't kill all the peripheral members of the Central Center, these small characters, right? Once Central is finished, these people will definitely go their separate ways. Although Young Ming is not afraid of these people, us siblings are. You've been operating in Europe for so many years. The wealth in your hands is astonishing. Which of these core members doesn't know about it? At that time, they will team up to trouble us siblings. Can we handle it? Your brother is just a master thief. Although it is possible to steal a car under the eyes of others, I don't know kung fu. In the eyes of those people, we are just lambs waiting to be slaughtered. We can only find a safe place to live in seclusion. Yang Ming's Island X is the best choice. Only Yang Ming can protect us. This. After listening to Dong-jun's words, Alice suddenly became silent. Although some of what Dong-jun said was fallacious, it was not easy for the peripheral members of the Central Center to find them if they found a place to live in seclusion. However, it was undeniable that Dong-jun's words also had a certain degree of truth. Both of them were not good at kung fu. If those people from the Central Center really found them, it would indeed be troublesome. Although this possibility was not high, it was indeed possible. Once they found them, it would be big trouble. The peripheral members of the Central Center were not good people. They were all characters who killed and robbed without blinking an eye. Dr. Benjamin had fallen, and Alice had a huge amount of wealth in her hands. It was impossible for them not to be tempted. Thinking of this, Alice couldn't help but worry. Brother, you are right. Although these things are just guesses, we can't just take precautions. So, I am trying to promote the relationship between you and Yang Ming. Dong-jun nodded and said, think about it. If you and Yang Ming are successful, then there will be no problem at all. Your brother will be awesome. Brother, you are still in the mood to joke at this time. Alice saw Dong-jun's awesome look and was speechless suddenly. I'm not joking. You and Yang Ming are really together. I, your brother, am already awesome. Although I was demoted to Yang Ming's junior apprentice by master, I suddenly became Yang Ming's brother-in-law. According to the seniority, Yang Ming still has to call me brother-in-law. Dong-jun laughed. Then, what do you need me to do? Alice sighed. Indeed, the fate of her and Dong-jun was really tied to Yang Ming. As for the bodyguards hired by Alice, Alice did not have the intention to trust them for a long time. These people followed Alice only because of the remaining prestige of Alice's illustrious identity. If Alice really hid with Dong-jun, it was difficult to guarantee that these people would not steal from her. It's very simple. Continue to let Yang Ming like you. How you are in Europe is how you are here. Dong-jun said, I don't know if it will work. So, I will try. Alice smiled bitterly. I have to go back and think about it. And, you think about it. Dong-jun nodded. Dong-jun mysteriously called Alice over to talk alone. Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. When he was bored, he used his X-ray vision to look at them casually. Of course, Yang Ming was not peeping on the siblings' privacy. He was just purely bored, so he just took a look. But after seeing that they were talking about him, Yang Ming continued to look. What Yang Ming did not expect was that Dong Jun and Alice actually talked about him. Moreover, what Dong Jun said later made Yang Ming feel dumbfounded. However, Yang Ming was not without gain. At least, Yang Ming confirmed one thing. That was, Alice was really interested in him. This was an accident. It was true that there was a little ambiguity between Yang Ming and Alice, but there was no trend to go further. Now, Yang Ming understood Alice's intention, and he knew that Alice wanted to use the way in Europe to seduce him. Chapter 23:38. This couldn't help but make Yang Ming's heart itch. At that time, Alice was really attractive. However, at that time, Alice was a good-looking poppy flower for Yang Ming. She looked beautiful, but in fact, she was deadly poison. Yang Ming could only look at her from afar. Although Yang Ming wasn't sure who Alice was and why she wanted to deal with him, it was certain that he couldn't get involved with this kind of woman. Yang Ming was wary of her everywhere. When she transferred to Songjiang Industry University, where Yang Ming was, Yang Ming didn't even want to see her. But now it was different. Alice was Dong Jun's sister. They knew each other very well, and Dong Jun was trying his best to matchmake Yang Ming and Alice. Yang Ming couldn't help but feel a strange wave in his heart. If Alice really did return to being that flirtatious Xiao Ai from Europe, what would happen to him? Yang Ming shook his head and withdrew his gaze. After prying into the privacy of Dong Jun and Alice for a long time, although this privacy was related to Yang Ming still felt a little embarrassed. Yang Ming had always been a relatively upright person. He rarely used his X-ray vision to do something immoral. Yang Ming disdained to peek into other people's bodies or peek into other people's privacy, but he accidentally did it once. This made Yang Ming shake his head involuntarily. This was the only fun part of dealing with Dr. Benjamin during these boring days. This matter came to an end temporarily. When it was time to eat in the evening, Yang Ming didn't see Alice, so he asked Dong Jun curiously, "Dong Jun, where is little AI?" "Oh, little AI's body is a little uncomfortable, so she won't eat with us. After we finish eating, we'll just bring her something," Dong Jun said casually. Yang Ming was slightly stunned. "When I peeked at Alice at noon, she was still fine. Why is she not feeling well so soon?" Yang Ming resisted the urge to peek again. What if it was really inconvenient for Alice? However, Yang Ming guessed that Dong Jun's words probably made Alice a little shy and embarrassed. Before she thought it through and made a final decision, she probably didn't know how to face him. So, Yang Ming didn't say much and nodded, "Then let's just eat some fast food near the hotel." After the fast food, Dong Jun brought a burger set back for Alice, while Yang Ming continued to monitor Dr. Benjamin. What Yang Ming did not expect was that Dr. Benjamin still chose to act in the middle of the night this time. At midnight, two submarines, one in the east and one in the west, quietly drove out of the central base of Fire Wolf Island and headed in different directions. Seeing this, Yang Ming immediately turned around and left the room. He found Dong Jun and said, "Dong Jun, Dr. Benjamin is on the move. Let's go immediately." "Oh. All right." Dong Jun nodded and said, "Let's go." "Don't you want to tell Xiao Ai?" asked Yang Ming. "Let's call her while we go." Dong Jun hurriedly went downstairs, got into the car in the parking lot, and was ready to drive to pick up the helicopter. In the car, Dong Jun called Alice and told her that he and Yang Ming were going to perform a mission. They might not come back at any time, so Alice didn't have to worry. Alice was shocked. She didn't expect her brother and Yang Ming to perform a mission. In fact, Alice had been looking forward to seeing Yang Ming's heroic actions during this time, but she didn't have the chance. The situation described by her brother made Alice feel relaxed, so Alice really wanted to see it with her own eyes, but but she didn't expect that her brother had already set off. "Brother, can you bring me along?" Alice asked with some unwillingness. "Next time. This time, Young Ming and I are already halfway." Dong Jun hesitated and said, "Next time. I don't know when the next time will be." Alice was a little disappointed and unwilling. She had been here for so long, and it was rare for her to have such an opportunity. "The overall situation is more important," Dong Jun said. "Brother, why don't you give the phone to Yang Ming?" Alice hesitated and said, "Okay." Dong Jun gave the phone to Yang Ming and said, "It's little AI. I am Yang Ming." Yang Ming took the phone and said, "Yang Ming, can you bring me along? I like to see you being a hero, okay?" Alice was anxious and unconsciously begged Yang Ming. Her tone was the same as when she was in Europe. Previously, Alice thought about it in the room. She really couldn't make up her mind to be like Yang Ming, but when it came to it, she naturally became the previous little AI. In fact, she was too anxious. Well, seeing that you begged me so many times before, but I didn't pay attention to you, I will give you a chance this time." Yang Ming said with a smile. "Dong Jun, drive the car back and pick up Alice." "Yang Ming, will this affect our plan?" Dong Jun hesitated and asked. Although he hoped that Yang Ming and little AI could have further contact, tonight was undoubtedly a good opportunity. Dong Jun still maintained a clear mind when it came to the major issues. "It doesn't matter. The submarine still needs some time to get here." Yang Ming could see through things in telescopic vision, so he could accurately predict the arrival time of the submarine. "That's good." Dong Jun nodded, turned the car around, and turned back in the direction of the motel where they had stayed before. Alice had already dressed up and was waiting in the lobby of the motel. When she saw Dong Jun and Yang Ming's car driving over, Alice quickly ran out, opened the door, and got in the car. "Ha! Yang Ming, I didn't delay your plan, right?" Alice blinked and looked at Yang Ming apologetically. "No." Yang Ming shook his head and said, "There is still time. There is no problem." "That's good." Alice stuck out her tongue cutely. Dong Jun looked at his younger sister, who seemed to have changed into a different person and became more lively. He was very happy in his heart. Although his younger sister began to act coquettishly with Yang Ming, she was somewhat different from the Alice in Europe. That Alice was not cute, but now Alice was both cute and coquettish. She was simply invincible. Dong Jun drove to the place where the helicopter was parked. He quickly got on the helicopter with Yang Ming and Alice, and then flew in the direction of the vast sea. In the dark night, Dong Jun controlled the helicopter according to the direction of Yang Ming's guidance, but Alice was amazed by it. Yang Ming obviously closed his eyes and sat quietly. Chapter 2339. Yang Ming's strategic appearance was very charming, and it made Alice's heart beat faster. Before, without the conversation with Dong Jun, Alice wouldn't have so many thoughts. Her feelings for Yang Ming were only hidden in the bottom of her heart, but now everything was out in the open. She naturally looked at Yang Ming with worship and admiration in her eyes. The helicopter flew on the sea at the fastest speed. The sea was dark in the middle of the night, and there were no lights. It was so dark that it was terrifying. Dong Jun just operated the helicopter according to the positioning device. Alice, on the other hand, looked out of the window of the helicopter curiously. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would have thought that there was such a magical thing. Flying a helicopter without looking at anything, even if there was a coordinate navigation, what if there was a collision? However, Yang Ming had X-ray vision, so he could see the situation within a few hundred miles clearly. There was no possibility of a collision. "Stop. Wait here." Yang Ming suddenly said to Dong Jun, yes. Dong Jun did not hesitate to execute Yang Ming's order. He stopped the helicopter over the sea, and then waited for Yang Ming's next order. Ha! The submarine is here. Alice looked at the calm sea below and asked with some doubts. Shao Ai, don't talk too much and disturb Yang Ming at this time, Dong Jun said to Alice. Ah. Oh. Alice covered her mouth and stopped talking. Hee, not so serious. There is no problem with talking. Yang Ming smiled and said, how about you tell a joke, Dong Jun? Hey, forget it. Dong Jun shook his head, then smiled and said to Alice, Shao Ai, you are really important. When Yang Ming was carrying out the mission before, he was very serious. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women, Yang Ming said. Yang Ming's words immediately attracted Dong Jun's laughter and Alice's speechless supercilious eyes. However, he suddenly recovered a serious face and said, now, let's start preparing. Prepare to release the torpedo depth charge. Understood. Dong Jun nodded and immediately prepared. 3, 2, 1. Fire! Yang Ming suddenly said. As soon as Yang Ming finished speaking, Dong Jun pressed the launch button of the torpedo. In an instant, there was a loud sound, and a huge wave was set off on the surface of the sea. A submarine was blown up. Alice was speechless. Although she didn't see the submarine being blown up with her own eyes, looking at the situation, the torpedo really hit the submarine. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caused such a big commotion. That's it. Alice took a deep breath. Well, it's dead. Yang Ming nodded and said to Dong Jun, let's return quickly. Return? Dong Jun was stunned. Aren't we going to chase after the other submarine? Yeah, but we can't not have a helicopter, right? Yang Ming said, don't you want to see a flying saucer? Forget it, I won't go. You take Shao Ai with you. Dong Jun hesitated and said, I'll fly the helicopter back. To be honest, it was impossible for Dong Jun to say that he wasn't curious about flying saucers, but in contrast, it was better to let his sister and Yang Ming go together. He wouldn't be involved. All right. Yang Ming nodded and began to call Grandpa's son Sikong in his mind. Grandpa's son, take me and Alice to the flying saucer. Okay, Yang Ming. Sun Sikong's voice suddenly sounded in Yang Ming's ear. After a while, a white light suddenly flashed around Yang Ming and Alice, and then Yang Ming and Alice disappeared. If Dong Jun didn't know about this situation, he would have a strange feeling. Alice and Yang Ming appeared on Dr. Sun Sikong's flying saucer in the next moment. This is the flying saucer. Alice looked at the space where she and Yang Ming were with some surprise. In this space, there was no flying saucer control room. It was just a closed space. At least from the inside, it couldn't be seen that this was a flying saucer. And this is the flying saucer. Yang Ming nodded and said, but Yang Ming's eyes were outside the flying saucer at the moment. Then, he silently established a connection with Dr. Sun Sikong in his mind, telling Grandpa Sun Sikong the direction of the flying saucer. Alice was very curious, but after getting on the flying saucer, she found that the flying saucer was just a so-so. There was nothing on it, but she wasn't lonely being with Yang Ming. Yang Ming was still communicating with Dr. Sun Sikong in his mind. After blowing up another submarine, Yang Ming and Alice appeared on Dong Jun's helicopter again. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. Dong Jun hadn't returned yet at this time. The helicopter was only halfway there. Yang Ming and Alice appeared on the helicopter again out of thin air, which shocked Dong Jun. Why are you back so soon? Dong Jun was fortunately flying a helicopter. If it were other means of transportation, there might be some accidents. I'm done, so I naturally came back, said Yang Ming. So soon. The other submarine was also destroyed. Dong Jun asked with some surprise. And, it's done. Yang Ming nodded. The flying saucer is faster. I thought it would take a while. Dong Jun smiled bitterly and turned to look at Alice. Little AI, how was it? Was it fun to be on the flying saucer? It's not interesting. I can't see that it's a flying saucer at all. Alice shook her head. But it's fun to be with Yang Ming. Ha, that's good. Dong Jun laughed out loud. At this moment, Dr. Benjamin looked at the two submarines with a gloomy face. Both submarines had lost their signal, and they couldn't contact the hypnotist on the submarines. Without a doubt, both submarines were destroyed by Yang Ming. This situation made it difficult for Dr. Benjamin to imagine how Yang Ming did it. In theory, the two submarines were going in opposite directions. If Yang Ming was chasing one of them, the other would definitely not be able to catch up. How could he catch up with both of them? This made Dr. Benjamin very puzzled. Of course, he naturally didn't think of Dr. Sun Sikong's flying saucer. In front of a flying saucer, no matter how many submarines there were, it was useless. It was just that the flying saucer couldn't be used often. What's going on? Dr. Benjamin's face was very gloomy. He found Old Scorpion and asked. This. Old Scorpion didn't expect Yang Ming to be able to destroy this plan of splitting up. This made him feel a little helpless. Forget it, you definitely don't know. Dr. Benjamin waved his hand and didn't want to make things difficult for Old Scorpion. Chapter 2340. This was really strange. If Professor Benjamin couldn't figure it out, Old Scorpion wouldn't be able to figure it out either. Thank you, Professor. Old Scorpion quickly said. Let's discuss the next step of the plan. Professor Benjamin sighed and waved his hand. A failure is a failure. This method doesn't seem to work either. Yeah, it seems like my way of thinking is still in the normal range. Yang Ming obviously can't be measured using common sense anymore. Old Scorpion said with a bitter smile. We have so much technology in the center. Is there nothing we can do about Yang Ming? Professor Benjamin felt a headache coming on. Everything that had happened in the past few days had made him feel a deep sense of helplessness. He felt that no matter what he did, Yang Ming would always be able to come up with a countermeasure. Yang Ming was not only able to predict the future, but also always able to accurately kill his men. Whenever Professor Benjamin thought of Yang Ming's name, he would grit his teeth. Professor, forgive me for being blunt. I'm afraid that normal methods won't work on Yang Ming anymore. Old Scorpion said hesitantly. If we want to deal with Yang Ming, we'll have to find a new way and use some new tricks. A new trick? Dr. Benjamin asked. I've heard that the most powerful fighting machine that you've been researching all these years isn't the Iron Man or the Cyborg, but the Super Iron Cyborg, the Fire Wolf War God. Old Scorpion said. If we can create the Fire Wolf War God, then we might be able to deal with Yang Ming. Old Scorpion didn't say that it was impossible. He only said that it might be possible to deal with Yang Ming. This made Professor Benjamin sigh. But how could he not know that Old Scorpion's confidence was slowly being shaken by Yang Ming? The Fire Wolf War God. It's not that easy to create. Professor Benjamin sighed. I've tried to modify a few of the frozen corpses that we brought back before, but they all ended in failure. Yes, but Professor, I can't think of any other way. This is the only way I can think of. Old Scorpion was at the end of his rope. You're right. Perhaps this is the only way. Dr. Benjamin nodded. The Fire Wolf War God is currently the most powerful experimental result. Although it is only theoretical at the moment, if it succeeds, it will indeed be very powerful. It's just that this Fire Wolf Wargod's requirements are too high. There are only 2 frozen corpses left. If I fail, I'm afraid I won't have another chance. Old Mule didn't know what to say. Dr. Benjamin patted him on the shoulder and seemed to have made up his mind. He stood up and said, "I'm going to the laboratory to transform the Fire Wolf Wargod. Don't bother me if there's nothing important. I'll look for you if there's anything." "Yes, Doctor." Old Mule nodded. Dr. Benjamin sighed. He seemed to have aged a lot. Yang Ming had forced him to use his ultimate move, but this move was difficult to achieve. The process of creating the Fire Wolf Wargod was not very complicated. As long as one of the organs in the human body was replaced with an organ with rabies bacteria and injected with a mutated vaccine, the process would be very torturous. After that, whether it would succeed or not depended entirely on the willpower of the recipient. This was a very painful process. Generally, the recipient would not be able to withstand the pain of the mutation and would die of rabies first. Even if they survived, the process of mutation would still be very uncomfortable. As long as they couldn't bear it, they might die. Only those with strong willpower could grit their teeth and persevere. However, after many experiments, Dr. Benjamin found that it was not advisable to use a living person to replace the organs. If a living person replaced the organs of a rabies dog, it would be easy to die of rabies. But the corpses of people who had just died were different. After the organ was replaced and the vaccine was injected, it could be frozen at absolute zero and sealed. After the infection stage and the mutation began, the corpses could be restored to normal. As for those who had just died, Dr. Benjamin could use some special means to resurrect them. Of course, this resurrection would only last for a moment. Once the control was done and the transformation was successful, the corpse could be resurrected until it became the Fire Wolf Warlord and continued to live. But if the transformation failed, the corpse would naturally become a permanent corpse. So over the years, Dr. Benjamin collected many corpses of people who had just died from all over the world in order to do experiments. The common characteristic of these corpses was that they died because of damaged internal organs. Only this way of death, after Dr. Benjamin gave them a rabies organ, could let them be temporarily resurrected. Of course, there was actually an important reason to use these corpses to create the Fire Wolf Warriors. That was, most of the people who died were unwilling to accept their own deaths. Most of these people who died because of damaged internal organs died from fighting or murder. When these people died, they were naturally unwilling and very unbalanced. If they could be given a chance to resurrect and take revenge, they would be very happy. Dr. Benjamin was the person who provided them with the opportunity. As long as these recipients had hatred in their hearts, then there would be a belief. With a belief, they would naturally be able to survive the painful transformation and mutation. However, to Benjamin's disappointment, none of the previously resurrected corpses had hatred in their hearts. One of them died of suicide. Letting him come back to life was equivalent to suffering. Another one died of love, but he died with his lover. He had no regrets and naturally did not want to be resurrected. The third one was a man who deserved it. The son of his enemy had come knocking on his door and ended his life. This man's enemy was once his good friend. For many years, he had been living in guilt. Now that his enemy's son had come to end his life, he was free. Therefore, these 3 transformed people were undoubtedly failures. This made Dr. Benjamin very speechless. How could such a coincidence happen to me? Once again, the transformation plan was temporarily put on hold because it was not easy to transform a Fire Wolf Wargod. Not only does it require a lot of effort, but the experiment time is also very long, and the failure rate is too high, so Dr. Benjamin temporarily gave up. At this moment, there was really no other way. Dr. Benjamin was ready to pick up the previous things again and prepare to create a fire wolf war god to deal with Yang Ming. Oh. Chapter 23:41. Dragging his tired body into the laboratory, Dr. Benjamin's figure also disappeared from Yang Ming's monitoring line of sight. Yang Ming couldn't see the things in the laboratory. However, Yang Ming didn't need to see the rest of the things. Even if he saw it, he couldn't understand it. He just needed to know Dr. Benjamin's purpose and plan. It was just this super steel biohuman, fire wolf war god, which made Yang Ming somewhat puzzled. What is this powerful thing? It sounds like this name is very powerful. Fire wolf war god. Yang Ming pondered for a while and decided to discuss it with Dong Jun and Alice. Both of them were from Central. I don't know if they have heard of Dr. Benjamin's research invention. Yang Ming turned and went out of the room and came to Alice's room. Dong Jun was also there at the moment. He was chatting with Alice. Seeing Yang Ming's serious face, Dong Jun knew that there must be some new news from Central. Yang Ming, is there any news? Dong Jun stood up and asked. Yes, there is indeed a little news. Yang Ming nodded and said, You have been with Dr. Benjamin for so long. Have you heard of something called Super Steel Biohuman? Super Steel Biohuman. Dong Jun and Alice looked at each other after listening, but they both saw puzzlement and confusion in each other's eyes. Dong Jun frowned and shook his head. No, Yang Ming, I have heard of steel biohuman and biohuman, but I have never heard of this super steel biohuman. Is it a new invention of Dr. Benjamin? I'm not sure if it is a new invention. Yang Ming shook his head and said, but judging from Dr. Benjamin's tone, it should not be. It should be an early project. Right, this super steel biohuman also has a name called Fire Wolf War God. I don't know if you have any impression of it. Alice shook her head in confusion. Obviously, she had been in charge of the commercial development of the center before, so she didn't know much about the internal affairs of the center. However, when Dong Jun heard this name, his expression suddenly changed. He cried out involuntarily, Fire Wolf War God. I know this. Oh. You know. What's going on? When Yang Ming saw Dong Jun's expression, he knew that things weren't looking good. This Fire Wolf War God was probably very powerful. Otherwise, Dong Jun wouldn't be like this. I've never heard of the Super Steel Cyborg, but I do know a little about the Fire Wolf War God. Dong Jun said with a serious expression, the Fire Wolf War God, also known as the Fire Wolf Inheritance, is a super fighting machine invented by Dr. Benjamin based on the research of a mutated werewolf from ancient times and some modern Western vampires. It is said that its combat power is very high, and its body is very hard. It also has independent thoughts and is very difficult to deal with. Oh. Yang Ming was slightly stunned. He thought to himself, isn't this a combination of a super Iron Man and a biohuman? Oh. No wonder it was called the Super Steel Cyborg. Moreover, this kind of fighting machine has a fatal attack method, and that is, its fangs are poisonous. As long as its fangs bite through the enemy's skin, the enemy will be infected with a mutated rabies virus and become a zombie without consciousness. The Fire Wolf War God will then control the enemy instead. Dong Jun said, of course, these are just rumors. I don't know what the specific situation is. I just heard people from other centers mention it. This research is indeed not a new invention, but it has been around for a long time. But for some reason, Dr. Benjamin put it on hold and did not continue it. Oh. Yang Ming frowned secretly. Sure enough, what Dong Jun heard was not groundless. This Fire Wolf War God looks really powerful, but Yang Ming still asked, can the super acid last time deal with this Fire Wolf War God? This is not clear yet. Dong-jun smiled bitterly and said, "Everything is just what I heard. I haven't even seen this fire wolf war god, let alone deal with it, okay?" Yang Ming nodded. He also knew that asking Dong-jun this was a bit difficult, so he said, "Then, I will keep an eye on it. Yang Ming, don't worry too much. There will be a way when the time comes. Haven't we won many battles along the way?" Dong-jun saw that Yang Ming was a little uneasy, so he explained. "Hee, it's okay." Yang Ming smiled. "You and Xiao Ai stay here for a while. I will go out and buy some food. You are in a bad mood today, so let's not go out." Dong-jun stood up and walked out of the room. "Okay." Yang Ming nodded. Indeed, Dr. Benjamin, the fire wolf war god, made Yang Ming a little uneasy today. Seeing that Dr. Benjamin was so confident, Yang Ming really didn't know what his ultimate means were. Dong-jun left, and Yang Ming and Alice were left in the room. Alice stood up and walked to Yang Ming's side. She pressed her soft and delicate hands on Yang Ming's shoulders and said softly, "Yang Ming, I will give you a massage. You should relax. Monitoring Dr. Benjamin every day is too stressful." Alice knew that although Yang Ming seemed to live a carefree life every day and could monitor Dr. Benjamin in the hotel, in the end, Yang Ming was not relaxed. Yang Ming was always monitoring Dr. Benjamin and the center's every move, and he couldn't relax. In other words, Yang Ming was actually the most tired of the three of them. So Alice deliberately went online to learn a stress-relieving massage method to help Yang Ming. "Oh. You know how to massage?" Yang Ming was a little surprised. Alice, who was once a noble lady in the upper class of Europe, actually knows how to give people a massage. "Xiao Ai specially learned it for you." Alice exhaled and whispered in Yang Ming's ear, making Yang Ming's heart itch. He didn't expect Alice to really return to the Xiao Ai from before in Europe, but with a little more playfulness and cuteness. However, this also made Yang Ming like her even more. If it was the Xiao Ai who only knew how to seduce people, Yang Ming finally felt a little regretful. There was no Alice's nature in it, but now, this cute side was Alice's nature. "Well, then I'll enjoy it," Yang Ming said and closed his eyes, letting Alice do what she wanted. It had to be said that although Alice gave Yang Ming a massage for the first time, her massage method was quite good, making Yang Ming very comfortable. Chapter 2342. Little AI, your technique is not bad. You just learned it and you are already so good. Yang Ming said in surprise. "Not really. I practiced a few times with my brother before," Alice said with some embarrassment. "Oh, Dong-jun really knows how to enjoy it. Is he not addicted?" Yang Ming asked with a smile. "His arm was dislocated by me." Alice laughed. Then, when he saw that I wanted to practice with him, he habitually had arm cramps. Pfft. After Yang Ming heard Alice's words, he almost burst out laughing. "I didn't expect Dong-jun to be so unlucky. His arm was actually dislocated when he cooperated with his sister to learn the massage." However, after laughing, Yang Ming could also feel Dong-jun's heartfelt love for Alice. Otherwise, Dong-jun wouldn't have begged Fang Tian to let Alice go after making a mistake. Little AI, Dong-jun, although he can't be said to be a good person, he is a good brother. Yang Ming sighed and said. I know." Alice nodded, and a strange brilliance flashed in her eyes. She said, "Yang Ming, what he did before, can you let bygones be bygones?" I have already said that the past is the past. There is no need to mention it again." Yang Ming smiled. Yang Ming, you lie on the bed. I will help you massage your back." Alice nodded and said contentedly. Okay. Yang Ming did not refuse. He enjoyed the current relationship with Alice. Yang Ming was not in a hurry. It was fine as long as the two people could progress step by step. Of course, Yang Ming's heart was also clear. He knew that it was Dong Jun's wish for Alice to be with him. Alice had a good impression of him, and he had some feelings for Alice, but without Dong Jun's help, the two people would never be so close so quickly. Perhaps, the two people would pass by each other and miss a lifetime. However, Yang Ming had also thought it through. Many things were best to let nature take its course. Just like him and Alice now. Since they didn't reject each other, and they liked each other, then he would enjoy it. After Yang Ming lay on the bed, Alice sat on Yang Ming's body. Alice's underwear was directly attached to Yang Ming's back. This feeling was indescribably ambiguous. Yang Ming asked strangely, "You also used your brother to simulate this?" "Of course not." Alice blushed slightly and said, "My brother stole a dummy for me from who knows where. I used the dummy for practice. Besides, his arm is dislocated. Even if I wanted him to help, he wouldn't come." Yang Ming nodded. Although Dong Jun and Alice were siblings, it wasn't very good for Alice to practice with Dong Jun like this. Although Yang Ming was wearing a shirt, and Alice was also wearing underwear, and the two people didn't have direct skin contact, this kind of vague contact was the most moving and restless. Sometimes, the hazy feeling was more heart-throbbing than seeing each other naked. Now he and Alice had this feeling. Yang Ming's heart beat faster. Wasn't Alice the same? This action was really a bit shameful, but since Alice had made up her mind to be with Yang Ming, she became bold. After sitting on Yang Ming, she began to massage Yang Ming. Yang Ming couldn't help but moan comfortably. Needless to say, Alice's massage technique was first class. However, while Yang Ming was feeling good, Dong Jun suddenly pushed the door and walked in at this time. When Dong Jun went out to buy food, he brought Alice's room card. When he came back, he didn't think too much. When he pushed the door, he saw Alice sitting on Yang Ming, and Yang Ming moaning comfortably. Dong Jun was suddenly stunned. His subconscious thought was see no evil. Although he vaguely saw that Alice was wearing clothes and a skirt, she didn't have to take off her clothes to do that, so Dong Jun turned around awkwardly and quickly said, "I didn't come. I went out." After that, Dong Jun went out of the room and locked the door. Alice was more innocent and didn't think too much. When she saw Dong Jun come in and go out, and say inexplicable words, she was suddenly a little confused. What happened to my brother? How did he become mentally ill after going out for a while? Ha! Yang Ming couldn't help but smile after listening to Alice's words. He naturally knew why Dong Jun went out. Obviously, Dong Jun misunderstood something. His and Alice's posture just now, coupled with Yang Ming's moaning, was really easy for people to misunderstand. What are you laughing at? Alice was even more inexplicable. Nothing. Yang Ming coughed twice and smiled bitterly. I'm afraid Dong Jun misunderstood. He misunderstood that the two of us are doing what? Alice still didn't quite understand Yang Ming's meaning. Love. Yang Ming said. Love? Are you calling me? Alice was stunned. She didn't expect Yang Ming to call her love. He didn't even call her little AI. She suddenly became a little shy. I didn't call you. You were the one who asked me. That's why I said love. Yang Ming explained seriously. Do, love. After Alice repeated it, she suddenly understood. Her face was red, and she couldn't help but punch Yang Ming's back with her pink fist. Why are you so bad? You have a complicated and dirty mind. It's your brother. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. We are massaging well. He thinks too much, that's true. Alice thought about it. She really couldn't blame Yang Ming. She could only blame her brother for thinking too much. Well, don't massage anymore. Let's get up quickly and find Dong Jun. If it takes a long time, he might association something. Yang Ming said. Alice also quickly got up from Yang Ming's body, then quickly tidied up her messy skirt and left the room with Yang Ming. Dong Jun was in his room at the moment. His mood was both happy and complicated. He was happy that Alice finally got together with Yang Ming. He was complicated because Yang Ming had too many women. He was worried that little AI would suffer in the future. However, according to Dong Jun's previous investigation, little AI should not suffer. Yang Ming's women were very easy to talk to. They didn't like to bully people, so little AI should not be excluded in the future. Just as he was thinking, Yang Ming pushed the door and walked in, followed by Alice. Are you done? Dong Jun saw Yang Ming and his sister come in together and asked subconsciously. Well, the massage is done. Little AI's technique is really good. Yang Ming said with a smile, some people don't know how to enjoy it. They don't dare to massage when their arms are dislocated. After Dong Jun heard Yang Ming's words, he was stunned and immediately understood that he was thinking too much. Chapter 23:43. Since Yang Ming said that he was massaging before, then he must be massaging. According to Dong Jun's understanding of Yang Ming was not an irresponsible person. If he really did something to Alice, then he would not deny it. At this time, he would be frank and honest with Dong Jun. Dong Jun thought that Yang Ming was not an irresponsible person. Thinking of this, Dong Jun could not help but be a little frustrated, so, it's okay, I said, are you done with the massage? Let's eat after the massage. With that said, Dong Jun picked up the fast food bag on the side, took out the box lunch and put it on the table one by one. Brother, what's with your expression? Alice asked when she saw Dong Jun's expression was a little unhappy. It's nothing. Dong Jun waved his hand and said, let's eat first. Dr. Benjamin entered the secret room and said to his apprentice, Shuyan, you go and get the remaining 2 bodies. We are going to make a super steel biohuman. Fire Wolf War God. Shuyan was stunned and asked. Yes. Dr. Benjamin nodded. Shuyan did not dare to neglect. She quickly went to the laboratory's freezer and took out the last 2 bodies. She was ready for the final operation. Doctor, I'm ready. Shuyan said to Dr. Benjamin after she had done all this. Good. Dr. Benjamin nodded and said, where are these 2 people injured? Are you ready for a rabid dog? One of these 2 people died from a ruptured liver, and the other died from a stab to the heart. Shuyan said, the rabid mad dog is ready and ready to be used at any time. Good. Dr. Benjamin nodded and said, prepare for the operation immediately. I'll do it myself. Okay, I'll arrange it. Shuyan nodded quickly. After more than 20 hours of fighting, the person with a ruptured liver finally replaced the ruptured liver under Dr. Benjamin's personal operation and became a mad dog liver. It was currently in the observation period. If he could wake up successfully, then the second step of the mutation plan could be carried out. If he could not wake up, then this person was finished and could never wake up again. After Dr. Benjamin finished this, he told Shuyan, you go and observe the follow-up of this experimental body. I'm going to sleep now. If there is any other news, report to me at any time. Yes. Shuyan said. So, Dr. Benjamin went to a separate lounge in the laboratory to rest, while Shuyan continued to observe the follow-up situation. Of course, Yang Ming could not see these things. Yang Ming's special ability failed because of the special metal in Dr. Benjamin's laboratory. Yang Ming could not see the situation inside and did not know what was going on inside. He only knew that Dr. Benjamin went to study the new fire wolf war god. When Dr. Benjamin woke up again, it was already 10 hours later. Dr. Benjamin came to the observation room. Kushuian quickly stood up and said respectfully, "Doctor, you are here. How is the situation?" Dr. Benjamin asked. "Not very good." Kushuian sighed and said, "This experimental body's desire to survive is not strong. Although there are some signs of life, there are no signs of waking up. If it can't survive the critical period, I'm afraid it won't make it." Dr. Benjamin looked at the various data of the experimental body and frowned slightly. Although this situation was expected, it was not unusual for the experimental body not to survive. But at present, there were only 2 experimental bodies left. This one was not going to make it, so only the last one was stabbed in the heart. Changing the heart, although it was not a big problem for a doctor like Dr. Benjamin who often did human experiments, the key problem was that the heart was replaced with the heart of a mad dog. He had to consider the possibility of rejection, and the experimental body may not be able to survive. After all, the heart was a very important organ, more important than other organs. Let's wait and see. Dr. Benjamin did not have much hope for this experimental subject. He was ready to modify the last body. The last body was a young man in his 20s. His heart was pierced by a sharp weapon. Logically speaking, he should not be able to survive, but he was found by the members of the center and immediately sent to Dr. Benjamin's laboratory. Dr. Benjamin froze the man with absolute zero temperature. So, if Dr. Benjamin's operation was successful, this person could still be alive. Heart surgery was a walk in the park for Dr. Benjamin. After the heart was replaced, the man was also pushed into the observation room, and Kushuian was also observed together. However, this man's desire to survive seemed to be particularly strong. After the heart was replaced, he showed an extremely tenacious vitality. This made Kushuian suddenly happy and said to Dr. Benjamin, "Doctor, there is hope for this last experimental body." "Okay." Dr. Benjamin breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. This was his last hope. Fortunately, God was kind to him and allowed him to find an experimental subject that could turn the situation around at the last moment of despair. If this fire wolf warlord was successfully modified, it would be Dr. Benjamin's hope to kill Yang Ming. The first experimental body, after more than 20 hours, died before the observation critical period. Dr. Benjamin just sighed but was not too disappointed. After all, this was expected. He also pinned all his hopes on the second experimental body. Time passed, and about 5 hours later, the second experimental body miraculously woke up. This situation surprised and delighted Dr. Benjamin at the same time. 5 hours. It only took 5 hours for the experimental to wake up. This experimental looked abnormally strong. After Dr. Benjamin learned that the experimental body had woken up, he quickly walked into the laboratory and looked at the confused experimental body at this moment and smiled slightly. "You must be very strange now, right? Why did you appear here when you were supposed to be dead?" Dr. Benjamin asked straightforwardly. This was how he talked to the other experimental subjects. "Where am I? Who are you?" "You mean, I am not dead?" The experimental body looked at the surrounding environment with some doubts. The environment here was very strange. He had never seen it before, and the people here were even stranger. Chapter 23:44. Yes, you didn't die, but in other words, I saved you. Dr. Benjamin said, "This is my laboratory. They all call me Dr. Benjamin. You can call me that too." Dr. Benjamin. The experimental subject frowned slightly and seemed to be trying hard to remember something. You saved me, thank you. You don't have to thank me because I didn't save you for nothing. I saved you to use you to do things for me. Dr. Benjamin said directly. I see. The experimental subject nodded and didn't seem to be too angry about what Dr. Benjamin said. He just said silently, there is no free lunch in the world. You saved me and want me to do things for you. This is normal, but what do you want me to do? What can I do? What can you do? Dr. Benjamin laughed and said, you are no longer a normal person. You have become my test subject. If the experiment is successful, you will be a super steel biohuman. Dr. Benjamin was very satisfied with the experimental subject's understanding. The experimental subject saw this clearly, which saved him a lot of time to explain. If he explained, it would be very troublesome. Super steel biohuman. What is that? The experimental subject asked, puzzled. To put it bluntly, it is a transformed person. You will have supreme power and a hard body. You will be Superman. Dr. Benjamin said. Superman. The experimental subject was a little surprised. I can become Superman. Does it sound interesting? Yes, but the process of transformation will be very painful. Dr. Benjamin said, the degree of pain is far beyond your imagination. It is an inhuman torture. You have to be mentally prepared. Painful. The experimental subject took a deep breath and shivered slightly. If Dr. Benjamin said so, the transformation process must not be simple. He couldn't help but shudder. You are dead, and it seems that you were stabbed to death. So, do you have hatred in your heart? Is there anyone you want to take revenge on? Dr. Benjamin asked. Hatred. The experimental subject's eyes suddenly burned with hatred and unwillingness. Yes, there was hatred in his heart. He was not dead, so he wanted revenge. So, the experimental subject nodded firmly and said, yes, I want revenge. All right. Dr. Benjamin nodded with satisfaction and said happily, I can promise you that after you help me with this, I will allow you to take revenge and kill your enemy. At that time, you were invincible, and your enemies were only ants in front of you. Many thanks. In that case, I think we will have a very pleasant cooperation. The experimental subject gritted his teeth and nodded. Cooperate. You don't have a choice because I have implanted a control chip in your body. If you don't listen to me, I can let you continue to sleep at any time. Dr. Benjamin said faintly, you have to remember that the reason why I want you to take revenge is not to exchange any conditions with you, but to let you have a belief in your heart. Only when people have hatred can they insist on taking revenge. I understand. The experimental's expression changed slightly. Only then did he realize that he had been too naive. Since the other party was able to transform him, they naturally had measures to prevent him from betraying them. They could not allow him to do whatever he wanted. It's good that you understand. Do things for me with peace of mind and kill my enemy. I will make your wish for revenge come true. Dr. Benjamin nodded and said. Okay, what do you want me to do? What is the strength of the enemy I want to kill? The experimental subject asked. He wanted to estimate how strong his opponent was so that he could have an idea in his heart. Since you want to know, it's okay to tell you now. Your enemy is called Yang Ming. He is a very cunning person and his combat level is not low. However, if you become a super steel biohuman, you definitely have the ability to kill him. Dr. Benjamin said. Yang Ming. A strong fighting spirit flashed in the experimental subject's eyes, and then he said firmly, okay, I am willing to cooperate with you to kill Yang Ming, Doctor. I will not rest until I die. Ha, good, it's good that you have this determination. Dr. Benjamin was very satisfied. Next, I will carry out the transformation for you. The experimental subject did what he said. The transformation process was extremely painful, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. In his eyes, there was incomparable determination and monstrous hatred. Dr. Benjamin was a little surprised. This experimental subject was a little too determined, wasn't it? Such a painful transformation process, and he did not even groan in pain. However, the more this was the case, the happier Dr. Benjamin was. This transformation of the experimental subject was probably more than half successful. If this experimental subject could persevere, Fire Wolf's victory would not be a dream. Finally, under Dr. Benjamin's careful transformation, Kushuian's careful observation, and the strong endurance of the experimental subject, the transformation process was completed. It could be said that the transformation process was extremely successful. A brand new and powerful Fire Wolf warrior was born. This Fire Wolf warrior became the ultimate secret weapon of Dr. Benjamin and Yang Ming. After arranging for Kushuian to continue the final transformation of the experimental subject, Dr. Benjamin called Old Mule to his laboratory excitedly. "Doctor, you were looking for me." Old Mule was a little unsure if Dr. Benjamin's experiment was successful. He walked in carefully and asked, "Doctor, the results of your experiment?" "Haha, Old Mule, heaven does not disappoint those who work hard." "My experiment was a success," Dr. Benjamin said with a laugh. "The transformation of the Fire Wolf is successful. There is only one, but it should not be a problem to deal with Yang Ming." "Congratulations, Professor Benjamin." "Congratulations, Professor Benjamin. We're about to make a comeback." Old Mule heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Professor Benjamin's words as he hurriedly congratulated him. But tell me, what should we do next?" Although Dr. Benjamin had created a super steel biohuman, he was a little troubled. How was he going to deal with Yang Ming? If he sent a speedboat, a helicopter, or a submarine, and Yang Ming directly threw a bomb, wouldn't the result be tragic? Although the Fire Wolf was not afraid of bombs, if he was blown up and fell into the vast sea, he was afraid that he would not be able to walk from the sea to the shore, right? Not to mention whether there would be any accidents in the sea, just the fact that he could not breathe in the sea was enough for the Fire Wolf. Chapter 23:45. No matter how strong this super steel biohuman was, it was still a modified human. It needed to breathe, and if it couldn't breathe underwater, wouldn't it die very quickly? It wouldn't have been able to do anything before it was blown up by Yang Ming. Wouldn't that be a waste? That was why Professor Benjamin was troubled. He had a powerful war god in his hands, but he couldn't use it. It was a headache. Next step. Old Scorpion wanted to say that they should go find Yang Ming for revenge, but then he thought of a problem. The problem was, how do they find Yang Ming? You thought of that too. Professor Benjamin saw that Old Scorpion didn't speak for a long time. He knew that he had thought of the problem. Yeah, how do we get this super steel biohuman to find Yang Ming? Old Scorpion smiled bitterly. Now, no matter what kind of transport we send from the center, it will be killed by Yang Ming. If we let the Fire Wolf War God take these transport and get killed before he can even meet Yang Ming, then it's not worth it. That's true, Professor Benjamin said. That's why I wanted to discuss it with you. See if you have any good ideas. There is a way, but I don't know how to implement it. Old Scorpion hesitated. What is it? Tell me about it. Dr. Benjamin quickly asked. Since we can't let the Fire Wolf War God find Yang Ming, then the only thing we can do is to let Yang Ming come here to find the Fire Wolf War God. If Yang Ming can come to Fire Wolf Island, then we have the confidence to make Yang Ming stay here, right? Old Scorpion thought for a while. Professor Benjamin nodded. That's a good idea. But how can we let Yang Ming come here? How can we let Yang Ming come here? Yang Ming doesn't seem to be that easy to fool. That's true. We'll have to see how we can lure Yang Ming to the central base. Old Scorpion said after some thought. How to attract him? Dr. Benjamin frowned. For no reason, let Yang Ming come here. Why don't we just say that you want to negotiate with Yang Ming and invite him to Firewolf Island? Old Scorpion said. I can give it a try. Dr. Benjamin thought about it. Besides this, there was really no other good way to think of. He couldn't just let Yang Ming come directly for no reason, right? Check Yang Ming's current phone number for me, Dr. Benjamin ordered. Yes. Old Scorpion nodded. Actually, Yang Ming's current phone number wasn't hard to find. It just depended on whether Dr. Benjamin wanted to find out. As long as he wanted to, it was easy. Especially since Yang Ming and Dong Jun were no longer in disguise. They were showing their real faces, so Old Scorpion easily got Yang Ming's current phone number. He also got accurate information that Yang Ming, Dong Jun, and Alice were indeed together, and the three of them were currently in Las Vegas Beach Town. Yang Ming had seen Dr. Benjamin's actions. However, Dr. Benjamin had been working in the lab, so Yang Ming couldn't do anything. Yang Ming couldn't see what was going on in the lab, so Yang Ming could only guess. When Yang Ming saw Old Scorpion walk into the lab, Yang Ming knew that Dr. Benjamin's experiment must have come to an end. Otherwise, Dr. Benjamin wouldn't have summoned Old Scorpion in. He just didn't know if Dr. Benjamin had succeeded or failed. But when Old Scorpion walked out of Dr. Benjamin's lab with a smile and calmness, Yang Ming understood that Dr. Benjamin had succeeded. Otherwise, Old Scorpion wouldn't have such an expression. This situation made Yang Ming's heart sink. Dr. Benjamin hadn't shown up yet, and Yang Ming didn't know what he was doing. So Yang Ming put all his attention on Old Scorpion. When he saw that Old Scorpion was about to ask for his new phone number, Yang Ming didn't stop him. Instead, he added fuel to the fire so that Old Scorpion could easily get his phone number. This was Yang Ming's intention. Since he couldn't see what Dr. Benjamin was doing, and since Dr. Benjamin was looking for his phone number, he must be calling him. So, from the conversation with Dr. Benjamin, Yang Ming wanted to see if he could find any flaws, or find out what Dr. Benjamin's next plan was. Sure enough, not long after, Dr. Benjamin's phone call came to Yang Ming. Although Yang Ming couldn't see Dr. Benjamin calling him, from the way Old Scorpion entered the lab after getting the number, there was a 99% chance that the call was from Dr. Benjamin. Hello. Yang Ming picked up the phone. On the other side of the phone, there was a moment of silence. Then, a low voice sounded, Yang Ming. Dr. Benjamin. Yang Ming smiled and asked. You actually know that it was me. After Dr. Benjamin heard Yang Ming's words, he felt a little guilty. Why was Yang Ming so good? He even guessed who he was. If it wasn't you, why did you ask for my phone number? Yang Ming smiled indifferently. Alright, since that's the case, I'll be frank with you. Dr. Benjamin was a little uncomfortable. From the moment the call was connected, the rhythm was controlled by Yang Ming, making him in a passive state. Therefore, Dr. Benjamin didn't talk much with Yang Ming and went straight to the point. Oh, go ahead, I'm listening. Yang Ming nodded. Yang Ming, to be honest, you and I have no grievances. Why are you targeting me? When Dr. Benjamin said this, his heart was sullen to a certain extent. He didn't understand what Yang Ming meant. Oh, didn't you ask Dong Jun to investigate me? I think you are a threat to me, so I want to kill you. Yang Ming said straightforwardly. After Dr. Benjamin heard this, he suddenly felt a little speechless. This matter is over. I don't want to be your enemy now. Yang Ming, can we have a good talk? Talk about what? Yang Ming asked. Talk about how you can stop. Dr. Benjamin decided to test first. If Yang Ming could stop, it would be best. If he couldn't, then there was no other way. Why should I stop? I'm having a good time now. It's like playing a game. Yang Ming said. Chapter 2346. This answer made Dr. Benjamin's face tremble. It really made him speechless. Yang Ming, in fact, I know that you are against me. You are just venting your anger and helping Dong Jun and Alice to get them out of my control. Dr. Benjamin had no choice but to say earnestly, I understand all of this, so I can also promise you that as long as you agree not to do anything to the people in our center, I will no longer hold you, Dong Jun, and Alice accountable. Oh, how do you want me to believe it? Yang Ming asked, wait until you are more powerful and cultivate the Fire Wolf War God, and then come back to trouble me. You know the Fire Wolf War God. Dr. Benjamin was shocked. He thought, how does Yang Ming know about this? Did Dong Jun and Alice tell him? Dong Jun and Alice shouldn't know. They are just peripheral members of the center. They don't participate in these research matters. I know. I also know that you have just created one to deal with me. You called me first to numb me. Yang Ming said faintly. Poof, cough cough. Dr. Benjamin listened to Yang Ming's words and suddenly choked and coughed loudly. You have nothing to say? Yang Ming asked with a smile. Yang Ming, I think you have a big misunderstanding and prejudice against me. I really don't want to be your enemy. Why don't you come to my central base? Let's sit down, calm down, and talk face to face, said Dr. Benjamin. You tricked me and let the Fire Wolf War God kill me, asked Yang Ming. Dr. Benjamin found that he was like a transparent person in front of Yang Ming. No matter what he said, Yang Ming could guess his intentions. This feeling made Dr. Benjamin very uncomfortable. He was completely passive in front of Yang Ming. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Goodbye. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he hung up the phone directly. Basically, from Dr. Benjamin's silence, Yang Ming already knew that Dr. Benjamin's Fire Wolf War God had been successfully manufactured and should be ready for use. Dr. Benjamin's purpose of attracting him to the center was to let the Fire Wolf War God kill him. Perhaps, Dr. Benjamin also found out that no matter who he sent, they could easily be killed by Yang Ming halfway. So, Dr. Benjamin learned his lesson this time. He directly invited Yang Ming to the center as a guest. On the surface, it was a negotiation, but in fact, he wanted to get rid of Yang Ming. In fact, unless it was absolutely necessary, Yang Ming would not go to the central base so easily. Wasn't the current situation much better? With the initiative, Yang Ming could do whatever he wanted. He didn't have to worry about Dr. Benjamin's tricks. So, Yang Ming completely had the initiative at this time. Since he could face the enemy so easily, why should he go into the tiger's den? Today, he had already talked to Dr. Benjamin and shed all pretense of cordiality. Next, Yang Ming was waiting for the so-called Fire Wolf War God to come to him. However, would Dr. Benjamin really give up? Obviously not. Bang! Dr. Benjamin smashed the phone in his hand to the ground, and it shattered into pieces. Dr. Benjamin really didn't expect Yang Ming to be so cunning. Whatever he wanted to do, Yang Ming knew what he wanted to do. He didn't have the slightest advantage. Yang Ming, you really piss me off. I will definitely kill you. Dr. Benjamin roared angrily. Old Scorpion came over trembling and said carefully, Doctor, don't be angry. Calm down. Isn't it just Yang Ming? Do you have to be so angry? You don't know. This guy Yang Ming, no matter what I say, he won't believe me. He won't come to the central base of Fire Wolf Island. If he doesn't come, what's the use of having the ultimate weapon, the fire wolf war god? Dr. Benjamin said, a little discouraged. This. Doctor, then what should we do? Old Scorpion hesitated and said, he won't come if we ask him. We can't lie to him, we can't force him, force. Dr. Benjamin heard Old Scorpion's words and said immediately, yes, why didn't I think of that? Yes, we can force him. Ah. Old Scorpion was a little confused. He didn't know what Dr. Benjamin meant. How could they force him? If Yang Ming didn't come, they couldn't force him. Could they force Yang Ming? Hee, Old Scorpion, you didn't say anything, but what you said gave me a big hint. I know what to do next. Dr. Benjamin said mysteriously. He had thought of a way. In fact, he had a trump card. He wanted to lure Yang Ming to the central base of Fire Wolf Island. He had to force Yang Ming to come to the central base of Fire Wolf Island. Then congratulations, Dr. Benjamin. Old Scorpion was confused. He didn't know what Dr. Benjamin had thought of to force Yang Ming to come here. Yang Ming didn't listen to force or persuasion. How could he make Yang Ming come here voluntarily? But since Dr. Benjamin didn't say anything, Old Scorpion didn't ask. After Old Scorpion left, Dr. Benjamin dialed a number and whispered to the person on the other end. As for what he said, Old Scorpion didn't know. He didn't let anyone hear him. It wasn't that Dr. Benjamin didn't trust the people around him, but this was too important. If he succeeded, forcing Yang Ming to come to the central base of Fire Wolf Island wouldn't be too hard of a problem. Of course, the premise was that no news could be leaked out. Otherwise, if the matter was messed up, then he would lose the bargaining chip to force Yang Ming to submit. After the call, a cruel smile appeared on Dr. Benjamin's face. Yang Ming, you didn't expect this, did you? I still have a trump card that I haven't used yet. Yang Ming hung up and saw Old Scorpion walk into Dr. Benjamin's lab mysteriously. When he came out, his face was full of smiles. Yang Ming knew that something was wrong. Dr. Benjamin must have thought of something new. Otherwise, based on the conversation between Yang Ming and Dr. Benjamin, even if Dr. Benjamin wasn't very angry, he wouldn't be happy. And as his subordinate, Old Scorpion, if he saw that his master was unhappy, he wouldn't have such an expression. This was a little thought-provoking. Yang Ming couldn't help but frown. Chapter 2347. In this matter, there is an indescribable strangeness. What is it that makes Dr. Benjamin like this? Did he find a way to deal with me? Yang Ming thought about it, but he couldn't figure out why Dr. Benjamin suddenly showed such a strange smile. After all, Yang Ming could only distinguish what they said by lip reading, but he couldn't see their thoughts clearly from so far away. I have already rejected Dr. Benjamin's conspiracy. It stands to reason that he should be very annoyed. Why is he smiling? Is it for me to see? That's not right. Dr. Benjamin should never know that I can see so far and see what they are doing directly. If they knew, they wouldn't leak secrets so often. Even if they invented a code, Yang Ming had no way to crack it. Yang Ming couldn't figure it out himself, so he called Alice and Dong Jun over to discuss the research together. Why did Dr. Benjamin suddenly become like this? Yang Ming, how is it? Is there any new discovery? Asked Dong Jun. Dr. Benjamin just called me. Yang Ming said straightforwardly. What? He called you. Is he sure that we did these things? Dong Jun was surprised after listening to Yang Ming's words. Of course, unless he is a fool and doesn't know that we did these things. Otherwise, he must have been sure. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. As for him calling me, it is easy to understand. It is easy for him to find our phone number, and we have nothing to hide now. That's true. What did Dr. Benjamin say? Asked Dong Jun. Dr. Benjamin deceived me to go to Firewolf Island to negotiate, but I exposed him. His purpose is nothing more than to let the newly created Firewolf War God deal with me. Yang Ming said, it's just that I said it directly. Dr. Benjamin was very surprised. Haha, he definitely didn't expect that you can see what he does. I guess when Dr. Benjamin knows that you know that he created the Firewolf War God, his expression must be very interesting, right? Dong Jun suddenly laughed. Well, he was shocked and angry. Then I hung up the phone, said Yang Ming. Is this what you want to discuss with us? Alice was a little puzzled. This Firewolf War God is powerful, but it shouldn't be the kind of monster that can't be killed, right? When he dares to come, we will use the same method to kill him. Even if he doesn't die, he will drown in the water. This is just the reason for looking for you. Yang Ming said. You think he can be as stupid as before and let Firewolf War God come to us in a submarine or helicopter, is? He is going to ask me to go to Firewolf Island, and then use Firewolf War God to deal with me, said Yang Ming. But, you are not stupid. He asked you to go. Didn't you refuse? Alice asked strangely, as long as you don't go to Firewolf Island, Dr. Benjamin can't do anything to you. There is no way. Oh. Yang Ming spread his hands and said, but now there is a strange phenomenon. That is, after I refused Dr. Benjamin's invitation on the phone and exposed his purpose, Dr. Benjamin should be very annoyed and angry, right? Just now, Dong Jun also expected this situation, right? Yes, isn't that so? Dong Jun nodded and asked. In fact, it is not like this. Dr. Benjamin found Old Scorpion, and then Old Scorpion walked out of Dr. Benjamin's laboratory with a smile on his face. Yang Ming said with a wry smile, there must be something I don't know. I can't see inside Dr. Benjamin's laboratory, so I can't see what Dr. Benjamin said to Old Scorpion that made Old Scorpion so happy. But I am sure that Dr. Benjamin has found a way to crack it. Now that you've mentioned it, it's possible. Alice nodded. In other words, Professor Benjamin must have thought of a way to deal with you. Otherwise, Old Scorpion would be in such a bad mood. Yes, but I really can't think of a way. Dr. Benjamin can make me submit and let me take the initiative to go to Firewolf Island. Yang Ming said, at present, it seems that Dr. Benjamin can only deal with me if I go to Firewolf Island. This is really a problem. Dong Jun nodded. The three people suddenly fell into silence. After all, this was not something that could be thought of in a short time. Although they roughly guessed Dr. Benjamin's intention, they could not think of Dr. Benjamin's method. East Sea City. A flight landed safely at East Sea City Airport. Huang Lele was the co-pilot of this flight. This was one of her rotating positions and also the airline's care for her. Because Yang Ming's X Island also wanted to build an airport, in order to promote the tourism industry in the future, Huang Lele, as the future chairman of X Island Airlines, must learn these necessary knowledge. The airline here put Huang Lele in a variety of different positions in order to let Huang Lele better familiarize herself with the operation of the airline. However, in addition to going to Songjiang City to see Chen Mengyan and others, Huang Lele's biggest purpose in coming to East Sea City this time was to see her online friend, Little Fox Fairy. Little Fox Fairy had always been her best friend on the internet. This time, she also accepted Little Fox Fairy's invitation. In the past, Little Fox Fairy and Huang Lele were very busy and had no free time to meet. Moreover, every time Huang Lele came to East Sea City, she must see Yang Ming first. She did not have enough time to be with Yang Ming, so how could she have the leisure to meet with her online friend? Even if it was the best online friend, Huang Lele couldn't give up on Yang Ming. Now, Yang Ming was not in Songjiang City. After Huang Lele came here, there was naturally nothing too important, so she naturally made an appointment with Little Fox Fairy to meet at a coffee shop in Songjiang City. Huang Lele dialed Little Fox Fairy's phone number. "Hello, Little Fox Fairy. I am Lele." Huang Lele said. "Lele, you are in East Sea City." On the other side of the phone, there was a girl's surprised voice. Chapter 23:48. "Yeah, I'm here." "Hey. Little Fox Immortal, why is there something wrong with your voice?" Huang Lele asked, baffled. She had heard Little Fox Fairy's voice. Although the two people did not have a video, they had a voice chat on the computer. But today, Huang Lele felt that this voice was a bit different from Little Fox Fairy. But she was not too sure. After all, it was the first time the two people called. "Oh. Maybe I have a little cold today." "What's wrong?" Little Fox Fairy asked, baffled. "Nothing." Huang Lele nodded and believed Little Fox Fairy's words. Then she said, "Where are you?" "Now I'm going to Songjiang City." "Do you still want to go to the coffee shop we agreed on online?" "Okay, you are in Donghai City. Do you want me to pick you up?" "My boyfriend has a car." Little Fox Fairy said after listening. "No need. I will take a taxi." Huang Lele refused Little Fox Fairy's kindness. Little Fox Fairy drove from Songjiang City and then drove back. It would be very troublesome and even more time-consuming. "It's okay. My boyfriend just happened to go to Donghai City. I have already told him." Little Fox Fairy said. "Then, okay." Huang Lele couldn't resist Little Fox Fairy's enthusiasm. She thought that the two people were very good friends on the internet. It was not troublesome for Little Fox Fairy, so she agreed. "That's good. I will call my boyfriend." Little Fox Fairy heard that Huang Lele agreed and immediately said happily, "My boyfriend's car is a white Lexus LX 570. When he arrives, I will ask him to call you." "Okay, then I will wait at the airport." Huang Lele nodded and said. Sure enough, after a short while, Huang Lele received a phone call. It was a man who called, claiming to be Little Fox Fairy's boyfriend. He had arrived at the parking lot outside the airport in the 13th parking space. Huang Lele went out of the airport. Sure enough, she saw a white Lexus off-road vehicle in the 13th parking space outside the airport, so she walked over. "Lele." The door of the Lexus opened, and a man in his 20s came out. He enthusiastically said to Huang Lele, "I am Little Fox Fairy's boyfriend. Did I keep you waiting?" "No, hee, I didn't expect you to come so quickly. Sorry for troubling you." Huang Lele said politely. "I heard Little Fox Fairy say that you are best friends with her. What trouble is there?" "And I'm just passing by." Little Fox Fairy's boyfriend said, "Please get in the car." "Thank you." Huang Lele nodded and got in the car. Little Fox Fairy's boyfriend drove the car out of the parking lot with many twists and turns, Songjiang City, Huaxiang District. In Yang Ming's villa, Jing Xiaolu was playing with her mobile phone in boredom. She logged into her mobile phone's QQ, but she didn't expect that when she logged into her QQ, the password was wrong. Jing Xiaolu was slightly stunned. She thought that she had entered it wrongly before, so she quickly and carefully entered it again. However, the result was the same as before. The password was still wrong. His QQ account was hacked. Jing Xiaolu was slightly stunned, but she was a little puzzled. Firstly, there were no Q coins in her QQ account. Secondly, she was not bound to any game, nor did she have any equipment or game coins. She only played the game hall, but it was all free points. There was no point in stealing, right? However, even so, Jing Xiaolu still took her mobile phone and walked quickly to the room where Zhou Jiejie and Xiao Qing worked. Now, although Zhou Jiejie and Xiao Qing were also working every day, they were mainly researching the tourism management system for the development of X Island. In the future, X Island must be digitally managed. Tianlong and Sun Hongjun would provide some data and management content, and Xiao Qing and Zhou Jiejie would help at home. Jiejie, Sister Xiao Qing, it's not good. My QQ account was hacked. Jing Xiaolu held up her mobile phone and exclaimed. Your QQ account was hacked. Zhou Jiejie was slightly stunned, and then said, if it was stolen, can't you just use a password protection to find it back? Xiaolu, this. Don't tell me you don't know how to do it. I really don't know. Jing Xiaolu smiled bitterly. You know, I am a computer illiterate. I didn't have a computer at home before. I only came into contact with computers at school and in the company. This smartphone was just bought not long ago. I don't know anything about password protection. Oh, so that's the case. Then you tell me about the password protection you set at that time. I will help you find it back, said Zhou Jiejie. I didn't set any password protection. Jing Xiaolu was stunned and asked, what is password protection? Forget it. I will help you look at it. As Zhou Jiejie said this, she opened the web page and entered Jing Xiaolu's QQ number. However, after entering it, she was shocked to find that Jing Xiaolu's QQ number did not apply for password protection at all. How is it? Asked Jing Xiaolu. Your QQ is not password protected. It is reasonable to say that even if someone stole your QQ number, it is impossible to change your password. Your QQ number is not logged in at the usual place. Even if the password is known, it can't be changed. Zhou Jiejie said somewhat baffled, did you forget the password that you changed? No, my password is Yangming521. It is impossible to forget, and it is impossible to change. Said Jing Xiaolu, baffled. Then where did you log into your QQ? Asked Zhou Jiejie. At the company and at home. At home, I still use my mobile phone to log in. Said Jing Xiaolu. I didn't go to the company these few days. I gave myself a vacation. As a result, my QQ number can't be logged in. Then according to your statement, the person who stole your QQ number should be someone in your company. Only they can change the password immediately after obtaining it. Otherwise, if it is not on that IP, the password can't be changed at will. Zhou Jiejie explained. I see. Is that someone in my company? It can't be. How can someone in my company dare to touch my computer? I am the chairman. Jing Xiaolu was a little puzzled, but she felt that Zhou Jiejie must be right because Zhou Jiejie would not joke with her. It doesn't necessarily have to be your computer. The network in your company and all the computers use a public network IP. That is to say, if someone gets your QQ password, it can be changed on other computers. Zhou Jiejie said, this is also your own fault. Why didn't you apply for password protection? It is easy to find the password when you bind your mobile phone. Oh. Chapter 2349. Then, what should I do now? Jing Xiaolu looked at Zhou Jiejie with some confusion. What else can I do? Or I can spend some effort to crack the password with the method of exhaustion, but this takes too long. The simplest way is to use your company's computer to appeal back. This is the fastest way, said Zhou Jiejie. That's fine. Then let's go to the company. Jing Xiaolu nodded quickly. So, Jing Xiaolu drove the car and took Zhou Jiejie to the company. In the past few days, Jing Xiaolu wanted to take a vacation and hand over the company's affairs to Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan. However, she didn't expect that there was such a trouble, which made Jing Xiaolu somewhat helpless and dumbfounded. The two people quickly came to the company. With the help of Zhou Jiejie, they completed the appeal of the QQ number. Next, they just had to wait for the outcome of the appeal. After the two people finished all this, they went home. Probably in the afternoon, Jing Xiaolu received the reply of the appeal result. Because the information she filled in was completely correct, the password of the QQ number could be reset. This time, Jing Xiaolu also applied for password protection with the help of Zhou Jiejie and bound the mobile phone to it. This way, the possibility of theft was greatly reduced. Ooh! I finally got it back. Jing Xiaolu breathed a sigh of relief. Although there is nothing important on this QQ number, I have used it for a long time. It is full of good friends and family. I really can't bear to lose it. Don't be happy too early. Why don't you look at the chat history? Has your QQ number been used by thieves to commit fraud? Zhou Jiejie reminded her. Nowadays, it was not uncommon to use stolen numbers to commit fraud. In many cases, they would use the stolen number to send a message to their friends on QQ, saying that they were in trouble and had no money. They would ask their friends to send them money as soon as possible. Although people were very vigilant now, and the internet often promoted this kind of scam, there would still be some careless friends who were deceived because of this. These people actually didn't consider it, but because they trusted their friends, they felt that it must be difficult for their friends to have no money, so they didn't ask much. They just directly transferred money and fell for the scammer's trick. Therefore, the swindler also used this mentality and succeeded time and time again. Yeah, I have to look at it quickly. Jing Xiaolu nodded quickly after listening. She opened her QQ friends one by one, and then looked at the roaming record for the past 7 days to see if there were any records of scammers using the account. Jing Xiaolu checked her real-life friends first, but fortunately, when she finished checking all her real-life friends, she was relieved. None of her real-life friends were deceived. Even the swindler didn't talk to them. This made Jing Xiaolu breathe a sigh of relief. At the same time, she thought that maybe this scammer didn't want to use the account to deceive people. Maybe he wanted to see if she had Q coins or something like that. However, when Jing Xiaolu saw her best online friend, Lele, she was shocked. That was because there were a lot of chat records. Jing Xiaolu was shocked and quickly read it carefully. But as she continued reading, Jing Xiaolu's face became pale and ugly. She got a very important message from this chat record. That was, Lele actually went to meet Little Fox Immortal, and that Little Fox Immortal was not him, but the account thief. This made Jing Xiaolu suddenly shocked. This online friend, Lele, was Yang Ming's girlfriend, Huang Lele. And Jing Xiaolu was naturally the real Little Fox Immortal. Previously, Jing Xiaolu didn't association Huang Lele. After all, her online friend was called Lele, and the name Lele was very common. How could she connect Lele and Huang Lele together? But then, as her chat with Lele deepened, and she got Yang Ming's QQ number, and compared it with Yang Ming's QQ number that she knew, she understood that Lele was also one of Yang Ming's women. Of course, Jing Xiaolu didn't have time to tell this secret to Yang Ming, and she didn't tell Huang Lele. She thought that when she met with Huang Lele, the two of them would talk about this matter. After all, it would be a bit awkward to say it directly, and it was not an important matter. When Huang Lele came last time, because Yang Ming was leaving, the time was short, so Jing Xiaolu didn't find a chance to talk to Huang Lele, so Huang Lele left in a hurry. Originally, Huang Lele said that she would come over in a few days, and Jing Xiaolu was also prepared to scare Huang Lele and announce the true identity of Little Fox Immortal to her. But who would have thought that such a thing would happen? Never mind that Lele was Yang Ming's girlfriend, Huang Lele, even if she wasn't, she was Jing Xiaolu's good friend. Jing Xiaolu couldn't just sit and watch Huang Lele be deceived. Looking at the time of the chat record, it was the record from the day before yesterday, and the time they agreed to meet was just this morning. It was almost evening now. Seeing this, Jing Xiaolu was shocked and scared. She didn't have time to explain to Zhou Jijia. She quickly picked up the phone and dialed Huang Lele's number. "Sorry, the number you dialed is turned off or is not in the service area." There was a formulaic prompt sound from the phone receiver. Huang Lele's phone was turned off and couldn't be reached. This situation made Jing Xiaolu's heart suddenly tremble. She dialed again, but it was still turned off. "Xiaolu, what's wrong with you? Why are you in such a hurry to call?" Zhou Jijia looked at Jing Xiaolu strangely and asked. "Jijia, it's not good. Something happened," Jing Xiaolu said in a hurry. "Ah. What's going on? Did someone really deceive your QQ friends?" "Whoa," asked Zhou Jijia. "It's more serious than this," said Jing Xiaolu. "It's Lele. Huang Lele was deceived." "Ah. Lele. How could Lele be deceived? Also, how is she your QQ friend? We don't have her QQ number, right?" asked Zhou Jijia, baffled. "It's a long story." Jing Xiaolu smiled bitterly. "Jijia, you go and call Sister Xiaoqing, Sister Sun Jia, and Sister Mengyan over. I will tell you in detail about the situation." "Okay, then I will go and call them." Zhou Jijia didn't dare to neglect. She quickly ran out of the room to inform the other girls. In the room, Jing Xiaolu dialed Huang Lele's phone number again and again. However, every time she dialed, it was still turned off. There was no miracle. It seemed that Huang Lele's phone was really turned off. It wasn't that there was no signal or anything. Chapter 2350. AI. "Lele, where did you go? Please don't let anything happen to you." Jing Xiaolu prayed in her heart. At this time, Zhou Jijia brought Qin Mengyan, Xiaoqing, Sun Jia, and others to Jing Xiaolu's room. When they heard that something happened to Huang Lele, how could they not be nervous? Huang Lele was now in the same camp as them. Moreover, if something really happened to Huang Lele, Yang Ming would definitely be worried. Moreover, this time, Huang Lele said that she would come to Songjiang City to look for them, so everyone was very nervous. "Xiaolu, what happened to Lele?" Chen Mengyan asked nervously as soon as she entered the door. "Sister Mengyan, things are like this." Jing Xiaolu didn't dare to hide it at this time. She told everyone in detail about her meeting with Huang Lele online, including the fact that she was the little fox fairy and the fact that she was going to tell Huang Lele the truth this time. Of course, it also included that her QQ number was stolen, and the person who stole the number pretended to be her to chat with Huang Lele and deceived Huang Lele to meet her at the coffee shop. Ah. There is actually such a thing. Chen Mengyan was shocked when she heard Jing Xiaolu's narration. She didn't expect that Jing Xiaolu and Huang Lele were actually online friends. The two of them had known each other for a long time. Moreover, someone would use this method to deceive. Then, where is Lele now? Was she deceived by that person? Sun Jia asked calmly. "Lele's phone can't be reached now. Her phone is turned off, and she didn't take the initiative to contact us. According to the last agreement, Lele should take the initiative to contact us. She should stay with us tonight," said Jing Xiaolu. "Yan Yan, you go to the coffee shop immediately. You have good skills." Sun Jia immediately made arrangements. "Meng Yan, you contact Uncle Chen and let the police be responsible for the search. Xia Shui, you are familiar with the people of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. You go to the fatty and look for Lele with him. The others don't worry. Stay at home and don't wander around. Victoria is responsible for protecting everyone's safety. Be careful not to fall into the enemy's strategy of luring the tiger away from the mountain. It had to be said that Sun Jia was a calm, strong woman. In a very short time, she made the most reasonable and beneficial arrangements. At this time, her own people's group's team mess up, and Sun Jia did this. Okay. Wang Xiaoyan, Chen Mengyan, and Xia Shui all responded. Except Chen Mengyan, Sun Jia was the leader. Of course, this was also Sun make a conscious concession. She didn't compete with Chen. Chen Mengyan she be the leader. Chen Mengyan also understood this in her heart, so at this time, she didn't have any other thoughts about Sun Jia's orders. Soon, the women acted. Wang Xiaoyan took Huang Lele's photo and rushed to the romantic coffee shop that was agreed upon in the QQ chat. However, after Wang Xiaoyan inquired, she was a little disappointed. The staff and the boss here had never seen Huang Lele. Most of the people who came here to drink coffee were couples. It was rare to see a combination of two girls. They had not received such a customer today. Even when Wang Xiaoyan gave the boss 100 yuan and asked him to help get the surveillance video of the past 2 days, she didn't see Huang Lele's figure. It seemed that Huang Lele really didn't come here to drink coffee and meet the swindler netizens. However, since Huang Lele didn't come here to meet the swindler netizens, where did she go? Wang Xiaoyan wandered around a few nearby shops, but didn't find any useful clues. So, she could only helplessly return home. Chen Mengyan and Xia Shui had also contacted Qin Fei and the fatty. The Songjiang City Police Station and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were looking for clues of Huang Lele together, but there was no good news for the time being. The women sat on the sofa in the living room, and they were all frowning. They didn't expect such a thing to happen suddenly. Huang Lele originally wanted to come here, which was what everyone wanted to see. After all, Huang Lele was the future airline manager of Island X, and everyone was Yang Ming's right-hand man. It was good for their future work and life to be familiar with each other in advance. However, there was a problem. Huang Lele suddenly disappeared. I think we should start from 2 aspects. On the one hand, we should investigate from the people around Xiaolu. The person who hacked the account must be someone around Xiaolu. On the other hand, we should figure out why this person deceived Lele. Xia Shui was worthy of being a criminal investigator. She could always find the root of the problem. How did this person know that Lele was coming? What is the purpose of pretending to be Xiaolu and deceiving Lele? Although everyone is looking for Lele, I have told the fatty about the direction of this investigation. The fatty may send someone to Xiaolu's company. It won't affect the normal operation of the company, right? It won't. I will call Xiaoru and ask her to cooperate. Jing Xiaolu agreed with Xia Shui's analysis, so she quickly picked up the phone and dialed Wan Xiaoru's phone number. However, there was a beep from the other side of the phone that the phone was turned off, which made Jing Xiaolu's heart tighten for no reason. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu's face changed, Xia Shui quickly asked, "What's wrong? What's the problem?" Xiaoru's phone is actually turned off. Jing Xiaolu's face became extremely ugly. How can she turn off her phone? She should be working in the company at this time, right? As Jing Xiaolu said, she dialed the phone number of her office and the secretary's office next to it, but no one answered. This made Jing Xiaolu's heart sink. Turned off. Does she have the password for your QQ number? Asked Xia Shui. Yes. Jing Xiaolu's face changed. She does know my password, and she also knows about Lele. Lele and I are online friends. She knew about it a long time ago, so is it that she did it? Xia Shui frowned. I don't know, but what reason does Xiaoru have to do this? Is it just a coincidence that Xiaoru just went out to do something, and her phone ran out of battery? Jing Xiaolu really couldn't believe that Wan Xiaoru would do something to Huang Leilei. Because in her opinion, Wan Xiaoru and Huang Leilei were two completely unrelated people. There was no connection between the two people. If Wan Xiaoru did this, what was her intention? Did she want to extort money from me? However, with Wan Xiaoru's position in the company, it was not too difficult to use her power as the chairman's secretary to privately embezzle public funds. Why would she do such a dangerous thing? Chapter 2351. Jing Xiaolu couldn't figure it out because things were too strange. In terms of motive, I can't think of it for the time being. Sun Jia shook her head and said, but from the current signs, she is the most suspicious. I also think that Wan Xiaoru is highly suspicious, said Xia Shui. I suggest that this person should be investigated immediately. Xiaolu, some things can't be seen on the surface, and you can't be impulsive. Jing Xiaolu nodded. Although she didn't believe that Wan Xiaoru would be like this in her heart, after all, she had been a good friend for a long time. However, the current situation forced her to believe it. Xia Shui took out the phone and dialed the fat man's phone directly. She told the fat man about the previous analysis and asked him to search for Wan Xiaoru's whereabouts. This person is currently the most suspicious, and she is likely to be with Wan Xiaoru. I got it. I will track her mobile phone immediately, said the fat man. Okay. Xia Shui nodded. When Xia Shui just finished the phone call, there was news from Qin Mengyan's side. Qin Fei returned the phone call and told Qin Mengyan a piece of shocking news. From the surveillance video of the airport, it can be seen that after Huang Leilei came out of the airport, she got on a white Lexus LX 570 off-road vehicle. The man driving should be Li Buliang without a doubt. Qin Fei said, but unfortunately, there should be a problem with the vehicle registration information. Although the owner is also called Li Buliang, according to his owner's information, he should be 40 years old. He should not be only 20 years old. His appearance is also seriously inconsistent with the current situation. It may be a fake identity. 40 years old. Chen Mengyan was stunned, but her heart was cold. It seemed that the people who kidnapped Huang Leilei must be Wan Xiaoru and Li Buliang. However, Li Buliang's identity was fake. Could Wan Xiaoru's identity be real? When Wan Xiaoru went to work in the company before, the company would generally only check the identity documents, but they would not specifically verify the authenticity of the identity information. Jing Xiaolu had never doubted Wan Xiaoru's identity until something happened. Yes, we are now doing our best to search for this car, but it is very likely that this car has been abandoned, and these people have gone to other places. Qin Fei said, not very optimistic. I know. Dad, please help. Qin Mengyan sighed and said. Of course, I will help. Mengyan, don't worry too much. Qin Fei comforted her. Qin Mengyan nodded. The dialogue between Qin Mengyan and Qin Fei was basically heard by everyone present. At this moment, it was certain that Wan Xiaoru was the one who stole Jing Xiaolu's QQ number and kidnapped Huang Leilei. Li Buliang and the Lexus off-road vehicle were in line with the image of Wan Xiaoru's boyfriend. I can't hide it anymore. At this point, I can only call Yang Ming. Sun Jia hesitated and said helplessly, Meng Yan, do you want to make this call or should I? Sister Sun Jia, you should make the call. Chen Mengyan didn't want to compete with Sun Jia. As long as everyone worked together, who was the master of the harem? And then I will make the call. Sun Jia nodded and dialed Yang Ming's phone. These days, Yang Ming was a little bored and suspicious. What kind of trump card does Dr. Benjamin have? He created the Fire Wolf War God, but he didn't send the Fire Wolf War God out. What does this mean? As long as Dr. Benjamin sent the Fire Wolf War God out, Yang Ming could instantly take Dr. Sun Sikong's UFO to the location of the Fire Wolf War God and drop a bomb to smash him into pieces. No matter how powerful the Fire Wolf War God was, it was just a super steel man. It was completely different from Yang Ming's invulnerable body. Of course, in fact, this was also an idealized data. Whether this Fire Wolf War God could resist the bomb, Yang Ming didn't know. However, Dr. Benjamin was smart this time. He wanted to lure Yang Ming to Fire Wolf Island instead of sending the Fire Wolf War God. Because Dr. Benjamin wasn't sure, he didn't know if Yang Ming had a weapon that could blow up the Fire Wolf War God. Ordinary bombs were definitely not good, but high explosives could destroy the Fire Wolf War God. Moreover, the Fire Wolf War God needed to breathe. As long as the submarine he was riding was blown up, he would definitely die. However, what trump card did Dr. Benjamin have that could make him fearless? How could he be sure that Yang Ming would definitely fall into his trap and would definitely go to Fire Wolf Island in person? Although Yang Ming didn't know and couldn't guess, he felt that Dr. Benjamin must have a way. A phone rang. Yang Ming picked up the phone while observing Dr. Benjamin's movements on Fire Wolf Island. Hello? Yang Ming, this is Sun Jie. Sun Jie's voice sounded over the phone. Sun Jie. Why is it you? Yang Ming was a little surprised. He was fighting with Central here. Generally, it was impossible to call him unless there was something important at home. Sun Jie called at this time. There must be something wrong. Did something happen at home? Sun Jie nodded. Yang Ming, something happened here. Sun Jie didn't hide it and said affirmatively, Lele is missing. What? Lele is missing. Yang Ming was shocked, and his face suddenly changed. What he was most afraid of was that there was a problem at home. What he didn't expect was that there really was a problem at home. For a long time, Yang Ming had been paying attention to the safety at home. He let Fang Tian, Wang Xiaoyan, and even the fat man of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau protect his family. But on Huang Lele's side, Yang Ming didn't think so much. After all, Lele was studying on the plane during this time, and the security check of the plane was very strict. Under normal circumstances, Lele would not be in danger. The most important thing was that Lele was Huang Youcai's sister. Dong Jun didn't tell Central about Huang Lele's matter. Huang Lele's identity was only known by him, Alice, and Huang Youcai, so Yang Ming didn't deliberately arrange for people to be around Huang Lele. After all, there were very few people who knew his and Huang Lele's identity. Yes, the people who kidnapped Huang Lele should be Wan Xiaoru and her boyfriend, Li Buliang, said Sun Jie. They? What does it have to do with Lele? Do they know Lele? Yang Ming frowned and didn't associate Huang Lele with them. Things are more complicated. Long story short. Sun Jie told Yang Ming about Jing Xiaolu and Huang Lele. She also told him that Jing Xiaolu's QQ was stolen and that Wan Xiaoru was impersonating her. Yang Ming felt that this was very magical after listening, but he was more nervous after being enlightened. Chapter 2352. Wan Xiaoru. Li Buliang. Yang Ming was not very familiar with Wan Xiaoru, but he still met Li Buliang once. When he chose the computer extracurricular group activity at school, Li Buliang seemed to be the president of the computer association. At that time, he seemed to be interested in Zhou Jie. But later, Li Buliang graduated and went to work, and there was no contact. Yang Ming's impression of him was limited to this. Could this person be a nail that Dr. Benjamin buried in Songjiang City? Now that he thought about it, it should be so because things were already very clear. At this moment, Young Ming was basically sure of one thing, that was Dr. Benjamin's trump card. No wonder Dr. Benjamin was so fearless for a while. It turned out that he had already thought of a countermeasure to start with Huang Lele. If Huang Lele was caught and brought to Fire Wolf Island, then he would definitely go to Fire Wolf Island personally. It was a good plan. This made Yang Ming have to go. Although it is still not certain whether they are from Central, but Sun Jia paused when she said this. In fact, with Sun Jia's wisdom, she roughly guessed that Huang Lele might have been captured by Central. Only the people from Central had a reason to capture Huang Lele. I know. It's not that I can't be sure, but it should be. Yang Ming sighed. It was true that even a wise man could make a mistake. Yang Ming had calculated everything, but he did not expect Dr. Benjamin to use such a trick. Oh. You know. Sun Jia was slightly stunned. And, don't relax on your side. Continue to look for news of Lele. I will also take countermeasures on my side. Yang Ming slowly calmed down his emotions. At this time, he could not be anxious. It was useless. He could only think of ways to solve this matter perfectly. Okay, I understand. Sun Jia heard that Yang Ming's emotions and tone were very calm except for the initial shock. She knew that Yang Ming had calmed down and did not disturb him. If there is news of Lele, I will contact you at any time. All right. Yang Ming nodded and hung up the phone. Then, he quickly found Dong Jun and Alice and began to discuss Huang Lele's matter together. After listening to Yang Ming's narration, Dong Jun and Alice were also shocked. They did not expect Benjamin's final trump card to be this. This really caught him off guard. Luan Xiaoru. Dong Jun frowned as he recalled, I was wondering why I felt a sense of familiarity when I saw her that time. I felt that she was very similar to Xiao Ai. It was as if she had also received professional etiquette training. It turns out that she's from the center. I have this feeling too. Yang Ming nodded. It seems that I am a little slow to realize it. I have neglected such an important thing. If she is from the center, then we can ask Sister Meng Yan not to investigate. During this time, Alice's relationship with Yang Ming had rapidly warmed up. Although the last step had not been completed, the matter between the two was basically settled. There would not be any accidents, so she called Chen Mengyan Sister Mengyan. Oh. Yang Ming was slightly stunned and looked at Alice. If both of them are from the center, it has been so long. With the efficiency of the center, they should be on the sea to the center now. We can't find them, so we can only start from the sea. Alice explained. Yes, the periphery members of the center are very efficient. It has been so long. I am afraid that they are already on the way to the center. Dong Jun also nodded and said. It turned out to be like this. Yang Ming's eyes narrowed slightly as he thought about the situation. After a while, Yang Ming took out his mobile phone and dialed back according to Dr. Benjamin's previous call. Ah, Yang Ming, hello. Dr. Benjamin quickly picked up the phone. It seemed that he was in a good mood. Dr. Benjamin, did you take Huang Lele away? Yang Ming did not talk nonsense and asked directly. Hee, you guessed it. Dr. Benjamin smiled and said, yes, I won't hide it from you. Huang Lele was indeed caught by me, and she is still on the way to the center. She is in a submarine. Of course, you can also blow it up. Yang Ming was a little speechless. He was most afraid of this situation, but now it seemed that Dr. Benjamin was not stupid. He used this method that was foolproof for him. If they were in a car or even a helicopter, Yang Ming had a way to intercept and save Huang Lele. But a submarine was not possible. Yang Ming could not intercept the submarine. He could not destroy it. If he used other submarines to intercept, the other party would not go with him. If he was annoyed and collided head-on, all of them would be finished. Yang Ming had the super-modified version of Jin Gang Voodoo. Although he was invulnerable, the so-called fire and water were also based on the situation that he could breathe. If he could not breathe, then Yang Ming would die. Therefore, in the face of a submarine, Yang Ming really had no way. If he really took the submarine to the sea, if Benjamin threw a bomb, even if Yang Ming did not die, he would drown, and Huang Lele would be involved. Why are you not talking? Hee, I said that you would definitely come. Dr. Benjamin smiled and said, Yang Ming, welcome to Fire Wolf Island. I am going to die, asked Yang Ming. Hee, you can't say that. If you don't come, I can't force you to come, right? Dr. Benjamin smiled and said, as long as you don't go against me, I won't do anything to Huang Lele. I will feed her well, but she will live on Fire Wolf Island for the rest of her life. Of course, if you come, maybe someone can save her. I have to admit that you won. Yang Ming said faintly, originally, I didn't want to go, but this time, I have to go. I underestimated you. Oh, all is fair in war. Dr. Benjamin was very proud. He had been fighting with Yang Ming for so long, but this was the first time he had the upper hand. How could this not make him happy? And things were not beyond Dr. Benjamin's expectations. Yang Ming would really come to the center. He would not give up on Huang Lele. When Lele arrives, you better not scare her. Let her walk around the island happily and play. I will exchange her back, said Yang Ming. That's not a problem. I won't hurt her. Since you're here, we can let her go. Dr. Benjamin agreed readily. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure. Oh.